Behind every crime lies a story waiting to be uncovered, from chilling mysteries to untold truth. This is where the darkness comes to light.
Courtroom buzz lights up the air, faces tense as stories tear, truth and lies like a tangled dance. Justice here takes no chance. Gavel strikes, hearts beat fast. Witness takes stand, shadows cast. Whispers loud like wildfire spread. In this game, none's ahead.
Hello, everybody. Sorry about that. Yes, I am unmuted. Good morning. Hello. Good morning, Kat. Good morning, Lois. Hi, Paula. Zizzy, William. Good morning, everyone. Hi. I think I've got everyone. Yeah. So it is Thursday. I am in a new corner because the feed we're gonna use for this trial, I need to be in this corner. I might have to move, but before we start, happy Thursday. It is gonna be a good day. It's the weekend already for me. Sorry. Oh, hi Kathy. Hi. This trial, I have been looking forward to this trial so much. It is gonna be crazy. And for once, and everyone in chat can tell you, I actually am coming in this trial, right? I am coming in a not guilty mindset. So I don't know, all the information, all the podcasts and the videos that I've seen about this trial. Uh yeah, I don't know. I'm probably gonna be wrong and change my mind not halfway through it. But yeah, good morning, Pickles. Hi my friend. How are you today? Happy Thursday. We are one day closer to the weekend. So yeah, as like so for once in my life, I know it is very shocking, and I know you guys are probably all grasping to your pearls right now. That I'm actually in a not guilty section so far. It might change. It probably will change. So it's absolutely crazy. Sorry. Um, Kathy, that is funny. Well, it's a literally a retrial of the case. She got convicted in 2010 for the unaliving of her husband, that she allegedly again set him on fire and run him over with a van outside of his house. So there is definitely a lowers that it's the T trial for sure. So it definitely will go along with your channel and everything. That's definitely for sure indeed. Hi William. So it's but like I've listened to a lot of the podcasts that I shared. I haven't watched the 48 hours one thing yet because I haven't found them in the UK version, so I need time to find it. And I think that's going to be my job tomorrow morning. To try to find the 48 hours, but I've listened to the podcast, I've listened to two podcasts, and then there was a like little bit. And guys, oh, I need to find the link again. I'll post on Discord or something later, but there is an interview with her kids, with the boys, because the whole family is separated, right? The daughters are on one side, the boys are on another. It's a completely mess. This trial, it is gonna be the tea of the year. So it is going to be a very very good trial. I am excited. We are not gonna talk about Nicole. All right, just putting out there, we're not talking about her. I'm still not over it. I need 5 to 6 days, business days, to process that information. So, oh yeah, definitely. I absolutely. The boys are 100% behind that she did it, but the girls are 100% behind that she didn't do it. So it's kind of like split on in the middle. But I wonder if they're gonna testify. They kind of almost have to testify, right? Because the boys weren't there. The mom got told them to get out of the house and go to the movies, allegedly. Well, allegedly, that's a very well known fact. So yeah, so that is exciting. I'm really 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 excited to start, but we haven't figured it out. What are we counting on this? we can go on a standard counting the objections, or we can count something else. I still haven't opened anything to whatever we're gonna count, and I need to delete the old one. So let me know of ideas. Well, we still don't know how the court is gonna be. I am just hoping for a good sound trial. I mean I need a good sound. I want to enjoy the watching this. So sorry, just doing something here. Um Definitely off. Ken, it's a brand new day. Definitely, Zizzy. It's definitely a brand new day. And the one thing that I'm gonna say about Nicole and trial is I really hope that she learned her lesson. But Ken, I absolutely agree. I mean, we literally just had our second not guilty version in a row. And probably we're gonna have our third. If we have our third not guilty verdict in a row, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but it's gonna be wild. I've never seen gossip rumor innuendo. Like I need 5 days at least, business days, to process her. It's and that reaction. I was on your video today, right? If you haven't checked, Kathy, what are you doing? Literally go check her out. I was yelling at the screen and agreeing with you on your video today, and I was like, I. Absolutely. So, well, let's not talk about it. Let's be happier and more relaxed and talk about Linda. So, oh, I haven't found anything about it, to be fair. About any juries. I think the jury doesn't want to be on this face of the earth. And I think all of them are going to move out of North Dakota and go out of here. Oh, by the way, I forgot. I'm going to make the spreadsheet available tomorrow. Yes. My days Lois, we need to go down to that because I have got some info for you guys, right? I do actually need to talk to my mother-in-law. I gave homework, Zizzy, for this trial for you guys to do, but basically I can do another one. Another one of this trial. So Linda Stermer was 42, as well as the victim was 42 at the time of the death of Todd, that is the husband. They were not in a good relationship anymore. They were in the verge of divorce. They literally were about to divorce, probably, even though they both wanted to stick it out. But they I don't know what happened because obviously we were not there. But apparently she was doing laundry. Linda was doing laundry down in the basement. Todd was watching TV in the living room. A fire started out of nowhere. And then she runs out, goes to the van, which very conveniently already had the keys in there. She starts the van to go get help instead of calling 911, and then she runs him over. But she says that she thought it was that she was stuck in mud, and then she was just yeah, he ran him over. So ooh, you watch. We need your expert opinion about it. So basically, that's the thing. She's already got convicted from this case back in 2010 and got life without the possibility of parole. But because of certain things that happened in her trial, the prosecution misconduct, and the information that was there, she got granted a new trial back in 2020, and she's been out on bond ever since, and now she gets to face another panel of juries on the same charges for this, and that's why we're here today. So we are expecting to start, and yes, about the 31 horses she had. Apparently one of the things, because she bred horses, she had a lot of horses, 31 in fact, and then that and Todd was what did Todd do? Hang on, I wrote it down somewhere in my notes. Right, he had his own business. So, absolutely crazy of a case. It is gonna be really, really good. Yeah, I think she is. But she looked good in a long gray hair, though. I really like that. I really, really, really liked the how her hair looked and everything. So absolutely gorgeous. Sorry, still setting up something here. The never end tasks. Okay. So she looked very good. So we'll see how she shows up. Feed is not up yet, so in a second we'll pop it in. So the horses. I need to call my in-laws, my mother-in-law, big, and my sister-in-law, cause they have horses themselves. So I need to know. Like obviously that will be now on an average how much it costs to have a horse, because having 31 horses, even though true is not all of her own horses, it can be very expensive. I know she took a loan. Was it 25 grand or something? She took a loan to help with the cost of, I think, the horses or something else. Oh, hi Sandra. Hello, my friend. Good morning. I sent you an email because I've seen your email, but my email account decided it was spam, and I did reply to you a few days back, so sorry about that. I check my spam folder every day because I've got PTSD of missing an email. So this is the new trial that starts today. Is expected to last about a week. So this will definitely be, hopefully, the last trial before the craziness of Lori Vallow. So, hello, Sandra. Really, really nice to see you again, my friend. Oh yeah, I definitely to feeding 31 horses. I think it is a lot of money. I think my in-law said she spends about 400 to 500, well, pounds, dollars on a month on their two horses, but I think it is more than that because they're always buying something. Um and especially the place that they stay. So I kind of need to have a bit of knowledge because I don't know nothing about horses. The only time that I saw horses for the first time was when I moved up here, and that's my in-laws had a horse. So absolutely oh, okay, they have gone. What am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. Fit is almost up, so but there's still. Have I? No, I don't have sound on because. Oh, oh, the view that we get. Hang on, look at the view. That's a good view. That court looks awesome. I just hope that the sound is good too. Um, I think she was boarding. Yeah, I think it no was not all of them were hers, but I think there were um some of them. Yeah, cause you make money, but I don't think they were making that much money because she they were in a financial struggling a lot. They were on the struggle bus, so I don't think they were very well because Todd had his own business. Even though he was doing okay, they had like loads of loans and a lot of financial debt and stuff like that. So we'll see. I mean, I am very excited about this one. I am more excited that this is Eastern time zone and is a new state for us to cover, and I'm excited about that. Oh, in fact, my time zone finished. Sound is gone. Oh, and sound is gone. So I was gonna say my times changed this week, and so next week we all gonna go back to the same thing. Um. Oh yeah. What? Well, so if my days 1,100 a month. I know, Paula, that gave me expectations. Oh, you're so excited. Wow, that is a very good memory, and that is crazy. 1,100 a month for one. Imagine having 31 now. Wow. I know she had a farm. I think obviously, this is she had a farm. Oh, I like that seal. It's nice. That's gonna be a good looking seal. Sorry, me fangirling about a seal. That's awesome. Um, so, oh, what was I even saying? Yeah, that was expensive, man. They had a farm, true, but still, you still have expenses like vet and stuff like that. That is absolutely insane. That how, yeah. Oh yeah. Ooh, it's maybe it's a Michigan thing. Oh, they have from Michigan as well. I keep forgetting that, but well, yeah. I know. But I see. I'm finding out. I never knew that Michigan was on an Eastern time zone. I thought that they were in another one. In another time zone. So sorry. Just okay. That doesn't not count. We're not counting scares because I'm not. I've So, yeah, I'm just waiting for. That sound does not sound good. Sounds a little bit problematic. But it's not too bad, to be fair. So just waiting on the yeah. I think I don't know. I thought it was all of it. I know this part is. Um I'm learning, but I am on a struggle bus because you guys changed your times in the beginning of the month, and now that I'm getting used to the new time zone, I'm changing my times this weekend, so it's all goes back to square one. Um, that's so good, Paula. I'm really really happy about that. That is awesome. That is absolutely fantastic. Oh, um, so yeah, they keep playing with the sound. I just hope that it's a good one because I'm hearing a little bit of I don't know the technical names, but it's not, and I don't think it's static, but hopefully when they start speaking, it will get better. And hoping that, oh, we need the judge's name, so if anyone catches the judge's name, please let me know. No, it's not feedback. I don't know. It's not. It's. I'm not gonna make the sound myself because someone will clip it, and could be. Hmm. Maybe. What? What? Are you telling me you can hear me feedback, or is just what you think that I'm hearing? Oh, this is crazy. Ambient noise. Yes, it's a bit of a crazy ambient noise for sure. Um, they do have it, Ken. I'm not gonna lie, it's a cool seal. It's like, not saying that one seal is better than another one, but probably one of the coolest seal. Oh, okay, that's good, thank you. It's all right. It's okay, Paula. You know how I am. I get very, what's happening. um it's one of the coolest seal that I have. I mean, there's big, but I, okay, dumb question incoming. Do they change per county, or is just all the same seal? Because I've seen states with different types of seals, or is it all the same, or it goes per county? Because now, like, here we have in England, right, the towns, we have like a crest of the town, and then we have the city, and then we have the England flag, and then we have the UK flag. So it's just, yeah. So it's just, I'm just trying to figure it out and trying to compare in my head, if you know what I mean. And so, oh, they are state seals. Okay, so every state, and okay, trying to figure it out how this works. I don't think. Okay, first impression of this court is that they are not gonna start on time. I know it's only the first day, and I shouldn't judge how they are, but first day they're already late 5 minutes. It's not a good sign. But what is your guys' thoughts of this case? Are you already still thinking guilty, or you waiting to see, or you are on the camp not guilty? Like, well, I am. I know it's shocking. I am on the not guilty side, and I think Paul is with me as well. So what you're thinking about it? Oh, and also, I think she might testify in this trial, even though it's not a self-defense claim. I don't know. I have my gut feeling telling me that she's gonna testify. Um, I don't know what it is. Oh yeah, true. Um, to go put the hearings and non-jury stuff. Yeah, I know. Oh, Montgomery's moving. I don't think so. So it's just like, oh, you guys would be impressed with me. I've already done the verdict game setup, so yeah, probably it's just yeah. There's like probably maybe one of the juries is late. First day is always um it's always hard on the first day to go, but I don't even know who the judge is. I'm so like not about the story of the case, but about the rest of it. I am so clueless that I absolutely don't even know. I like the thing is I went into the court website docket. I keep forgetting the names of things today. I went into the doctor. I'm just gonna give up talking. I went into the docket, right? And I couldn't see the case because all it says it's closed. So I'm hoping that we get to hear this the judge call the case because I need the case number. If anyone catches that and could DM me, send me or put it in chat, that would be awesome. So then I can do a search of the case because to see if there was like any documents we could read or any other material that we could do. Oh, hi, Banshee. How are you? Thank you very much for popping in. I hope Toxic is alright and her mom is feeling better. Thank you very much for popping in, friend. Really appreciate that. Thank you. We do miss her. Tell her that we miss her a lot. She's missed. I miss her. Her comments, lovely comments, definitely. Tell her that we love her a lot and to pop in soon. So lots of love to her and her mom. Honestly, hope that she gets better soon. So, yeah. Um, I don't even know. So yeah, if you guys hear the case number, that will be fine. Hey Pickles, have I said good morning to you, girl? Hello, good morning, friend. I don't think I did. Oh, I am so sorry if I did not do that. My apologies. So yeah. So are we counting objections? Are we counting what? Are we counting how many times I fall asleep? Because oh yes, I did. See, this is what I went to bed early yesterday, right? I went to bed at 9 o'clock, 9 p.m., which for you like well it's 4 hours difference to Eastern, and then you can go for that. But I went to bed at 9 p.m. and I slept almost straight away. I hit that the pillow in the bed and I slept, and oh my days, it was the best sleep I ever had. Oh, you did too. Oh, nice, Pickles. I was out like a light. I Garden Bot got home after me. I got home first. And then he did it shortly after me, and absolutely zonked out. Oh, okay, that's good. Well, indeed, that is very true, Banshee. Um, that is absolutely great. I hope that she's better though, and I hope that maybe she has learned her lesson and quit smoking. I am not the one to talk. I may have done something that I'm not proud of, and you guys are going to tell me off. So yeah, you guys are gonna tell me off when I say this, but yeah, I am not gonna say it. I bought a vape today, so hopefully no one. Oh man, it is hard though. Like quitting ugh, quit smoking. It's very hard. It's a very power willing thing to do. When even though like your health might not be the best, some people it struggle with that, and I'm sorry, and it's. But I get it. I struggle myself to stop smoking. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, Paula. Our researcher is on the case. Thank you very much, my friend, for doing that. But yeah, I struggle a lot to quit smoking. I had to do it cold turkey. You only partake in the devil. Pickles. Things. I don't want to put you on blast. I'll DM you. Because I don't want to put you on blast. You don't speak English, do you? Cause yeah, it's the I have plans for my Friday night after court of just relaxing and have a drink or two. Ooh, wow, that was quick. Ooh, hey, we have motion. Look, she's out on pawn. Remember? Ah, man, I thought we were gonna see someone. She's out on pawn, so she is not, yeah, in jail or in prison. She's literally out on bond. So good morning, Stephanie. But oh man, I'm so sorry. Yeah, it's well, yeah. The green beans. Let's count sidebars. Okay, so that's it. That will be good. Hi Stephanie, good morning. We'll definitely do sidebars. I'll set up the thingy when court starts, because I need to pay attention to what I'm doing, and I want to sidebars. Oh, sound is on. We have a female judge. Nice.
Stermer, parties are present, jury is not present. Ready for openings, any matters to address before we bring in the jury, counsel?
I believe we've all discussed sequestration of witnesses in chambers, so we would be asking for that, Your Honor.
Agreed. Okay, I'll sequester witnesses. Experts, however, will be allowed to sit in on testimony of other experts.
And as well as our investigating officer.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And investigating officers excluded as well. Defense, did you have any investigator you wanted excluded?
One more time, Your Honor.
Did you have any investigator that you wanted excluded from the sequestration?
Yeah, that would be Mr. Tranquil, but he won't be here today.
Okay. Any other matters to address before we bring in the jury for openings?
I am Your Honor.
No, I think we addressed those in the chambers.
Okay, thank you. We'll bring in the jury. Can't wear sunglasses, so I have to say something. Okay, welcome back, Terry. As I indicated, we're now opening statements.
Morning. Welcome back. Now is time for opening arguments. And just to let you know, thank you. I'll start over and introduce myself. Thank you very much for being here. I know that you probably know, I think prior from the judge, who I am, but my name is Susan Zeiderveen, and I'm proud and honored to represent the state of Michigan and the people of Van Buren County as your elected prosecuting attorney. So now is the time for opening statements. It's our opportunity to tell you what to look for in the case, kind of our roadmap, what we plan to present to you over the course of the next several days, what evidence that we plan to present, and who will be testifying. So we talked a lot about in voir dire, about the charges and the elements. So I want to take a few minutes just to dive into what those elements are and what the charges are. We have count 1, first-degree murder, and we have count 2, felony murder. So what are the elements that we talked about that I need to prove to you? So for count 1, the very first element, the first box that we need to check, is that the defendant caused the death of Todd Stermer. That is, that Todd Stermer died as a result of the actions of the defendant. That's the first box. Second box, that the defendant intended to kill Todd Stermer. That's the second element. Third, that this intent to kill was premeditated. That is, thought out beforehand. And the last box, last element that I need to check on this count, is that the killing was deliberate, which means the defendant considered the pros and cons of the killing and thought about and chose her actions before she did it. There must have been real and substantial reflection for long enough to give a reasonable person a chance to think twice about the intent to kill. The law does not say how much time is needed. It's for you to decide if enough time passed under the circumstances of the case. And the killing cannot be the result of a sudden impulse without thought or reflection. Those are the 4 elements, the 4 boxes. So let's go to count 2. These are the 3 boxes for count 2. First, that the defendant caused the death of Todd Stermer. That is, that Todd Stermer died as a result of the actions of the defendant. Second box, that the defendant had one of these 3 states of mind. She intended to kill, or she intended to do great bodily harm to Todd Stermer, or she knowingly created a very high risk of death or great bodily harm, knowing that death or such harm would be the likely result of her actions. That's the third box. I'm sorry, the second. Third box is that when she did the act that caused the death of Todd Stermer, the defendant was committing or attempting to commit the crime of arson. Those are your elements. Those are the boxes that I will be then working to check over the next few days. I want to give you the definition that the court will give you of arson, because I think it's important in satisfying the second count. What is an arson? These are the elements of the arson. First, that the defendant burned, damaged, or destroyed by fire or explosive a dwelling. If any part of the dwelling is burned, no matter how small, that is all that is necessary to count as a burning. The property does not have to be completely destroyed. The dwelling is not burned if it's merely blackened by smoke, but it is burned if it is charred so that any part of it is destroyed. That's the first box. Second, that at the time of the burning, damaging, or destroying, the property that was burned, damaged, or destroyed was a dwelling or any of its contents. That's the second element. Last one, that when the defendant burned, damaged, or destroyed the dwelling or any of its contents, she intended to burn, damage, or destroy the dwelling or its contents, or intentionally committed an act that created a very high risk of burning damaging or destroying the dwelling or its contents, and that while committing the act, the defendant knew of that risk and disregarded it. Those are all of the elements or boxes. So let's start out with what happened. January 7th, 2007, deputies Tony Evans and Gary Gruss are dispatched to the house. It's a Sunday afternoon in January at approximately 3:30 in the afternoon. They go to County Road 215 for a reported structure fire. They find the Stermer residence in a fully involved fire. This is the scene that you will see and that we expect to present to you as they're driving in from their squad car. This is what they see. When they drive up, deputies locate several people standing on the north side of the residence. For those of you that are directionally challenged like I am, that's if you're looking at the front of the house, it would be to the right, to right of that picture. At this time, they locate Todd Stermer. He's laying in a pool of blood, approximately 20 to 25 yards from that side of that residence. Mr. Stermer this says unclothed. It's actually not 100% unclothed. His sweatpants and his underwear are pulled down to his ankles. He doesn't have a shirt on, and he's still wearing his socks. He is badly burned, and to say badly burned is an understatement. His burns cover almost all of his body. His hair is gone, his ears are deformed, his skin is slipping off his body. Due to his injuries, the people who are on scene try to move him farther from the home, just to be able to get him away from the fire and away from the house, and then they attempt to render aid. Due to the severity of Todd Stermer's injuries, he passes away shortly after people arrive due to those injuries. At this time, there are multiple people on scene, many of them who you'll hear from today. Mike Matheny, Connie Calhoun, our neighbors directly next door. Dr. Richard Musali, another neighbor, and Steve Leach, who was the fire chief at the time, all arrive within minutes and are on scene. You will hear from them what they saw and their statements. On January 7th, the day of the fire, the investigation starts. They call in after the original deputies are there. They end up calling in the detectives. They call in Detective Gabrielle Rout, who is now retired, and Detective Tom Maziowski, who's also now retired. And they respond to the scene a little bit later in the day. The investigation starts. They start collecting all the evidence that they have on scene. They take numerous photographs, of which we expect to present to you. And they find a van still running, located in the west of the Stermer residence. So those of you who are directionally challenged, the van is running in the backyard. Tire impressions are located, and the detectives mark them with flags, the tire impressions leading to the van. There are several items of clothing that the neighbors we listed, have taken out and placed on Todd's naked, burned body. Those items are also collected by the detectives and put into evidence. You will also hear on January 7th, the day of the fire, people start trying to gather some initial statements. What happened? You're going to hear from Deputy Gary Gruss, hopefully today. He will tell you what Linda's first statement was. You will also hear from Detective Gabrielle Rout. She also talked to Linda Stermer on that day, and you will hear what she told Gabrielle Rout. As this investigation continues on the 7th and the 8th, Detective Sergeant Scott Leroy is brought to the scene. He's the fire marshal, and he's the scene. He's brought in to then inspect for the fire investigation. He arrives on the day of the fire on January 7th. He's actually there when Todd Stermer's there. He takes pictures of Todd. He takes pictures of the scene, and he's the one that seizes the sweatpants wrapped around Todd Stermer's ankles because he smells an accelerant. He also arrives on scene the next day and conducts a further investigation. He takes additional photographs, of which you will see. He examines the structure of the house and possible causes of the fire. You will hear from Dr. Markey at Sparrow Hospital, who conducted the autopsy. You will hear his cause of death is from those burns that he suffered. You will also hear on January 8th, Don Galuz, who's a Berrien County Sheriff's Department deputy, is called to the scene to do mapping and distances of the scene. So I'm going to show you, I think this will show up on all of them. This is the driveway coming into the house here. Oops. You can see the house. You can see the north side where the victim and the tire tracks are, here on the north. And you can see where the van is ultimately located in the backyard. And what makes this interesting is we expect to present to you details of the terrain of this yard. For those of you who are familiar with Michigan walkout basements, this is a walkout, meaning that where the body and the tire tracks are on the north side is a slope down. Where the van is at below the grade level, and there's sliding glass doors that lead out of the basement. He will explain the distance of the tire tracks. He will explain the distance from the house of the body and go over the scene in detail for you. You will also hear that on January 9th and 10th, James Shinsky is hired by the defendant's insurance company to conduct an investigation, their own investigation into the fire. He has a background as a fire investigator. He then does recorded interviews of Linda Stermer, with Linda Stermer, on January 9th and January 10th. You're going to start hearing, as people start digging in to the questions, start asking more questions, start going into the things that don't make sense, the explanations that the defendant starts giving, and how the story grows and changes. It's going to start here. That's her third statement. You are going to hear, or expect to present to you, Dave Hayhurst and Ann Hunt. They are both, Dave Hayhurst is with the Michigan State Police Laboratory, and Ann Hunt used to be and is now retired. They're going to talk to you about that van that was found in the walkout level in the backyard, that was driven by the defendant that day of the fire. They're going to talk about the multiple points that they examined the evidence that was scraped from underneath the van, and how they evaluated it, and where it was found, and the results that is determined to be the blood of Todd Stermer. You're also going to hear that the defendant's purse is found in Todd Stermer's van in the front passenger area of that van. You are going to hear testimony from Troy Ernst, another scientist at the Michigan State Police Laboratory. He tested the clothing that was seized from Todd Stermer that day, and he tested for accelerants. You will hear his lab reports. January 15th, James Shinsky starts conducting his own fire investigation. During this investigation, he seizes several rags from the washer in the basement of the Stermer residence. These are collected by Mr. Shinsky and sent to a private laboratory for testing. We expect to present evidence to you from Craig Belliette. He's the chemist for Baker and Herbert Laboratories. He's also now retired. Many folks have retired since 2007. And he conducted an analysis of those rags that were seized from that washer by James Shinsky.
Your Honor.
What's the date on that last slide?
All right, let's see if I can go back here. January 26th, Mr. Balliet. On February 27th, Steve Willison, who's an attorney for Farm Bureau Insurance, also becomes involved. So again, part of the fire insurance investigation. Defendant sits for an examination under oath at the request of her insurance company. The plot starts to thicken. The statements start to become more descriptive, change. You'll hear how everything starts changing. Blame starts being shifted. Stories, statements, explanations continue to change. Linda gives a statement again about what happened on January 7th. And at that time, she implicitly denies having an extramarital affair. October 18th, several months now after the fire, it's still in 2007, Steve Willison sits with the defendant again for a second examination under oath. Talks to her again about the events of January 7th. They go over the details. They go over what doesn't make sense, what's not adding up. More questions are asked. More digging is done. Things don't make sense. I'm asking, as the evidence is presented, to focus on her statements. You will also hear from additional witnesses. Kate Fox is going to come in near the end. She was the former friend, actually best friend, of Linda Stermer. You're going to hear the statements that Ms. Stermer made to Kate Fox. Mr. Williams, Chris Williams, is going to come in. He's going to talk to you about how he started his extramarital affair with the defendant, knew she was married, knew her from work, 6 to 8 months prior to the fire. You're also going to hear from Kathy Ilg, another friend of the defendant, and statements that she made to Kathy. You're going to hear from Kim and Ken Thompson, They were also neighbors close by, not direct neighbors, but close by. They were actually on scene that day. They will tell you what they saw, what they heard, what the defendant said immediately after the fire in those days. You'll hear from Annette Crandall. She was also on scene on January 7th. You'll hear more statements that Linda made to her. At the end of the trial, you're going to hear from Trenton Stermer, Trevor Stermer, and Corey Pierce. All three are the sons of Todd and Linda Stermer. They were teenagers at the time of this fire. Now they're grown men. They're going to come in and talk to you. They're going to explain what it was like to live in the Stermer household, what the dynamics were, what the relationships were. They're going to talk to you about what happened that morning, the night before, to give you an insight as to what occurred in the hours preceding this fire. This trial is going to be, a lot of it's going to be about the evolution of Linda Stermer's statements. As people ask more and more questions to try to get to the root of what happened, to understand, to figure out what really went on. Just in the process of asking more questions, you're going to hear statements, how they change about the home life. You're going to hear statements that actually change about what happened in the morning of the fire. You're going to hear statements change about where Linda Stermer even exited the home, the most basic details. What door did you go out? You're going to hear her statements. You're going to hear her changing statements of what she observed. What did you see? Where was the fire? What did you see? And you're also going to hear a lot of missing details that may be shown by other evidence and that we expect to show you. Particularly important are the statements about running Todd Stermer over with the van. Statements about never seeing the defendant. Statements about why. Why would you drive to the back of the house on a walkout basement? Why? You'll hear them. At the end of this trial, ladies and gentlemen, all the boxes that we painstakingly went through in the beginning of this opening statement will be checked. And I am going to ask all of you to render a guilty verdict on counts 1 and count 2. Thank you very much.
Mr. Prosecutor, give an opening statement.
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Again, I want to thank you all for participating in this democratic process that we have in America. You are a very essential fiber to the blanket of rights that was embedded in the very doctrine that we all stand on and live with in these United States of America. And I don't want to take up a whole lot of your time, but this case is about a family. It's about an American family. It's about love. It's about dreams. An American dream most Americans have is to own a home, to own some property, to raise a family, and do the things that you love to do independently of anyone else. A family nucleus. The Stermer family was an American family. Marriage created an opportunity for them to grow together, an opportunity for them to purchase some land. On 2 occasions, this last occasion in which they purchased, and they decided to build their own home. A family castle. Mr. Todd Stermer was very talented in reference to his skill sets of putting things together. And they set out on this journey with him, Linda, and the children, that they were going to build what they wanted to build on a lot of land that they could hunt, fish, be apart from anyone else, and have fun on their property. But it wasn't a totally isolated area. It was in the township of Lawrence, where most people have the same dream and desire to have some property, some space, to have their horses or their cattle or whatever pets. And it was the same thing with the Stermer family. They had horses, had dogs, cats, and had the vision of having many other things. They maintained their property themselves with all the natural and necessary machinery that goes with maintaining a large space of property. And so as the construction began, it got to a point where they realized that we've built this enough that we can move in. Even though it's not completed totally on the inside, all the build out wasn't completed, but it was enough to satisfy the occupancy for them. And they would continue the finishing of this project. And they didn't put a lot of money in a lot of fancy things. They lived in a common way. They didn't have a bunch of fancy cars. As I stated, the most important focus was the children, the school, their property, and the things that they enjoy among themselves. And in a township where the motto is, we grow together. And even though these neighbors live far apart, they all knew each other. And so, on January the 7th, 2007, very unfortunate tragedy occurred. On that morning, Miss Stermer and Mr. Stermer are at home. He's upstairs in his favorite place, watching TV, fireplace. And Miss Stermer is doing standard household chores. She's down in the lower part of the house. And the children are gone to the movies. And I don't want to give you any misdirected assumptions, but yes, as all families, they had some problems from time to time. But as I stated yesterday, in marriages, you have good days and you have bad days. And you always pray for more good days than bad days. And even the bad days, we work them out. We try to work them out. And on this day, there was a conversation in reference to working out some family matters. And sometimes you don't want your children to be privy to some of the conversations that adults need to address as it relates to the totality of the family, including the children. Sometimes that could elevate up to separation, divorce. But these things are what should be discussed among adults, not in the presence of children. And so that was the reason why the children was gone to the movies at the suggestion of Ms. Stermer, that they were going to talk about some family issues they didn't need the children to be privy to. And so that brings us back to Ms. Stermer and Mr. Stermer being in the house alone. There wasn't any fighting. There had been some arguments. Nothing physical. Nobody threatening anyone. As a matter of fact, Ms. Stermer had earlier that day went to one of the local convenience stores. Gasoline for the car, purchase a few items, come back home, and she's there with her husband. And of all the things that could happen, she hears a scream that she's never heard before. A very scratching scream. And she runs upstairs, and as she gets to the top of the stairs, all she can see is fire. All she can see is her husband on fire. What could it be like to run to a door and see nothing but a gulf of flames and a human body that you can't get to. All sources of communication was in that room. Her cell phone. She had no way of calling anyone. And in a state of total panic and trauma, she runs down and she gets out of the house for the sole purpose of trying to go and seek aid, help. My house, my husband is on fire. She gets outside. It's cold, had rained, had snowed. The terrain around the house was not concrete. And therefore, she jumps in the van, a 1993 Ford. This is 2007. It's not a 2005, it's not a 2006. It's a 1993 Ford. She jumps in the van, and after she gets in the van, she tries to maneuver out of the drive. And then she sees Mr. Stermer. Some kind of magical way, he had maneuvered out of the house on fire, and he was on fire. But when he got out of the house, she sees him, she gets out of the van, and she goes over to him and does everything she can do to try to help. A body, the skin from a fire is coming off. She tries to pick him up, and she can't maneuver that. And so she tries to get him in a comfort place to just stay in one place until she can get back in the van and go and try to seek some help. And as she attempts to leave, she doesn't look down on the ground in some kind of way because of the involuntary movement of his body. His body is positioned in a way in which when she attempts to drive out and back up and go forward, his body is up under the center of this van. By this time, the evidence will show that one of these very dear neighbors, several had seen the smoke in the sky, had called 911. And by the time one of the neighbors arrived, she was totally traumatized, and they said, "Where are the children?" And the evidence will show that they were finally advised the children was not in the house because everybody was concerned about who else was in the house. They could see the ball of smoke from a far distance apart. But no first responders are there for a while. Matter of fact, the very first people that are on the scene are all neighbors from the township of Lawrence. One individual was a doctor, not on duty, but he was a doctor. He arrived. You hear the evidence that there was a Mr. Matheny and his significant other, Miss Calhoun. They arrived. Because of his condition, they all was trying to figure out a way to provide some degree of comfort. And Mr. Matheny, who was a mechanic, opened his trunk and he had a lot of work clothes in his trunk. And he laid them on top of Mr. Stermer for some comfort. And the facts will show that where he was now positioned, there was a fuel furnace that was part of the heating system of the house that had been installed by the family, Mr. Stermer, as part of the building. Several individuals was concerned that this fuel furnace was going to explode. And so when the very first responder arrived, they decided to pick Mr. Stermer up and put him in a small little boat and move him far a distance from the house. And all at the same time, they're continuing to call in to 911, telling them, get somebody out here quick. And so when the first responders, I suppose the ambulance arrived, they did all they could do. But there's one part of this that you have to understand, the trauma that Miss Stermer was going through at this time. When they were calling 911, they're at the scene. There's a voice that in no shape, form, or fashion that a human mind could assume that this could be a fake voice or a voice to cover something up. Can we hear the voice?
We start the sidebars. I think that was a very good try for counting sidebars. I think apparently this is gonna be a sidebar counter, and yeah. So that I don't know why, but that defense opening having difficulties, and yeah. Stephanie, we don't talk about Colin's name or Nicole's name. That's two pen names in a channel. No, I'm joking, but yeah. I hope the Grum is okay and he's okay as well. But yes.
Read the 1 p.m. 2nd January 7, 2007.
There's a fire. There's a house on fire.
A house on fire where?
Yeah, County Road 50. 67030. My address is the house right for it. I don't know.
0302.
My address is the house right for it. There's people here.
You know if anybody lives there?
I do not. Yes, they live here.
Is anybody inside here?
I don't know. I see people right now. I don't know if they live inside.
670.
It's blank.
Is it north or south of here?
Oh my God.
Is it one person?
It's right before my house. It's right before. So it would be the number before me.
Okay, we'll have to park around the way. What's your name, please?
My name is Tanya. It's Linda Stermer's house.
Linda Stermer?
Yes, oh my God, she's outside. I don't know if people did it. Oh my God.
She's outside now?
She's outside and she's screaming or something to my boyfriend.
Okay. Can you see what she's screaming?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to get near the house. Like, I don't know what fear she is. Yes, she's freaking out. Oh my God. Please don't tell me.
Are you able to go outside with your cell phone and see?
Yes.
We just want to know if anybody's inside or not.
Is there anybody inside? Is there? Oh my God. Yes.
There's me? Calm down so you can help me. Okay, just calm down so you can help me. Do you know how many people are inside? She says limited. Is that Linda in the background? Okay. Where's your husband at? Okay. Can I talk to him? What's your husband's name? What's your husband's name? Is your husband inside your house? Okay. Can I talk to your husband, please? Can you do the phone to your husband so I can talk to him? Sure. Okay, is anybody still in the house? No one is in the house?
From that point on, this whole tragic event has destroyed a life, it's destroyed a family, and we will be able to show you that the destruction from this fire, that there was a duty, an obligation for several individuals to do what was necessary to determine the origin and the cause of the fire. And that there is absolutely nothing through the totality of this investigation that puts any weapon in the hands of Linda Stermer. The links were never there. From this point, the investigation started with one person is alive and one person succumbed to the fire, and therefore one person must be the cause of the fire. That one person would be the person that they can talk to. And that's not the way it was supposed to be. The evidence will show that there was an accidental fire in a house, in a room that had burning candles, that had burning lamps, oil lamps, that had a fireplace, and that the location of where the fire started and how it began to grow was in the same room where Mr. Stermer was, not where Miss Stermer was, because she was down in the lower part of the house doing laundry and chores. And they started their investigation with this rush to judgment. We are going to make something because we think. We have hunches. And what they did was, as she stated, when they arrive, one person decides that I'm just going to take the pants off of this individual that is lying here suffering and taking his last breaths. What little he's got on, with a burned up body, I'm going to take his pants off because I think I smell an accelerant. And the pants that got tested, their laboratory say it came back with an accelerant. Don't say where the accelerant came from. But we will show that this oil furnace that was installed by Mr. Stermer is part of their heating system in the house, along with the fireplaces, that the oil furnace had some problems, and that from time to time the oil furnace had to be bled. And so in bleeding the oil furnace, Mr. Stermer had done that the day before, and he had used some of the towels in the house, and these towels were left down in the lower part of the house. And so accelerant in reference to the household issues and needs on the outside was a common activity of use. They're going to tell you about a gasoline can. And on this property, they probably had 6 gasoline cans. Because what do you use gasoline for if you own a farm? Every machinery you have is oil and gasoline. Petroleum, and any one of those is combustible, right? Can start a fire. Sometimes with a match, and sometimes without. But the facts will be, for sure, that the cause of the fire was not by a human act, but it was clearly because of some flaw that existed in the upper part of the house. So they take these pants, but what you will also know, that this very same day, evening, and moment after that 911 call that you heard, and when the first responders arrive, and Van Buren County Sheriff's offices arrive, you're gonna know what happened was that they told Miss Stermer, "Can we have your clothes?" Now, evidence will show that she has laid down on top of her husband, begging and pleading, "Don't leave me." She has his blood on her clothes, hugging and embracing him. She had previously tried to pick him up. And they say when they realized that Mr. Stermer is not going and didn't survive, so placing him in the ambulance, it was now time for the coroner's office. But they told Miss Stermer, "Can we have your clothes? Come get in the ambulance." And one of the dear friends that lives in the neighborhood, in the area, had showed up also on the scene. She says, "I'll go to the house and get some clothes for you to put on." And so they took all of her clothes in the ambulance, gave them to Van Buren County officer, and the evidence will show that after they receive her clothes and she's able to put some clothes on that's brought to her from a friend's house, that they test these clothes, her clothes. She cooperated 100%. She didn't say, "You don't have a warrant? Am I under arrest? I don't need a warrant. I'm going to do whatever I need to do to find out what happened." But you wouldn't think that you'd be the immediate one, to the point that at this point of your life and you being totally traumatized and experiencing this wretched incident that's taken everything from you, your castle, your husband, your children's father. You want my clothes, but I'm going to give you my clothes. They take those clothes. They have them chemically, forensically analyzed. And the evidence will show that when the test came back, there was zero of any scintilla of any type of accelerant. And an interesting twist about all of this now is that we're thinking that this should be investigated by law enforcement, but all of a sudden, here comes the insurance people. And the evidence will show that Ms. Stermer didn't even know if their insurance was paid up on the house. There had been some financial issues. Things had gotten behind from time to time. But Mr. Stermer was in control of managing those affairs for the house. And the insurance people, they tell Ms. Stermer that no, your insurance was not paid up. But if you will go downtown and write a check to the insurance agent, we will consider your insurance back in force. And that's what she did. And then the insurance people, they started doing what they do. And many times what they do is to see how much money they can keep from paying out on a claim. And so they started this investigation of just trying to interrogate, take depositions, twist questions upside down so they could get the narrative that they wanted. And at the end of the day, they get their narrative. So they come out to the house 2 days after the fire, tell Ms. Stermer, meet us out to your property. Don't have the decency to say, come to our office. This lady is now homeless. Her children are homeless. All the belongings are gone. But the courtesy that's extended to her for the insurance is that I'm going to drive out to your property that's been burned down, and I would like for you to meet me. And she cooperates. Her mother, one of her friends, the insurance person says, we need to talk to you. They put her in their car, and that's where they conduct their interview. And then that's not enough, so they come back another day and do the same thing at the property, in the car. And Ms. Stermer has cooperated 100% with them through this whole process. Hasn't delayed, didn't do anything but whatever they asked her to do. And so that's within the first weeks, 3 weeks and months. Then all of a sudden they started providing some financial relief, temporary under the policy. And then what's more tragic about this is, as you said, this happened January the 7th of 2007. The destruction continued for almost 2 years. Before any charges were filed. They went on every degree of a witch hunt that you can imagine. Every person that knew Miss Linda Stermer, they went and talked to. It was so grotesque that they even started looking at Mr. Stermer, the deceased, as the cause, maybe, of the fire. But what they never did was a true investigation for the origin and the cause of the fire. And the evidence will show that because of the fact that they can never and did never try to make any attempt to determine the cause of the fire, they have absolutely nothing that they can put in the hands of Miss Linda Stermer as causing the arson or the fire. And therefore, there is absolutely nothing of an element that they can meet of an arson. Talk about an affair. Talk about some disgruntled friend. Talk about somebody that had a dispute with you, that don't like you. And you're going to use that and connect that to say, okay, we can go all the way back to 2 years ago and we can make this show that, yes, she committed this fire. They go as far as when they do arrest Miss Stermer, they put her in jail. And they put her in jail with other females. And shortly after she's in jail, the evidence will show they start pulling people out of the jail. You know this Stermer lady? You were in the cell with her? Did she tell you anything about her husband? Did she tell you anything about what happened, why she's in jail? Yeah, she says, I'm in jail because they accused me of burning my house down and my husband died, and so they charged me with murder and arson. But every last one of these people that they spend a whole lot of time interviewing in the jail, every last one of them gives them a different narrative of what they think they want to hear. And we call those people jailhouse snitches. But I leave you with this. Every last one of us is blessed to have the rights that we have in America. Accusations are accusations, but that fiber that I talked about earlier, that presumption of innocence, that beyond a reasonable doubt, those are some very, very strong threads that we get to wear every day. In this case, throughout the duration of this trial, you won't hear nothing from the defense other than the fact that there is no direct evidence, there is no circumstantial evidence. And the beauty of all of that is that the law states that you can't convict someone on conjecture. You can't convict someone on speculation. You can't convict someone because somebody didn't like the way she talked. You can't convict someone on somebody that you think that they was having some type of look or an affair or a conversation with another person under any shape, form, or fashion in America. That's not our society. That's not our foundation. Our foundation is what it's supposed to be, and you have the evidence that we're going to present in the defense of Linda Stermer. That justice shall prevail for this lady who's had to suffer through all of this since that day of January 2007. And you will bring back what is fair and what is just under the Constitution of the United States of America, the Constitution of this state, and the laws that are so embedded in each one of our lives. Thank you.
Our morning break. Jury will take about a 15-minute break. Please remember the admonitions from yesterday, the day before. No discussing the case with each other or anybody else. Do not look at any news reports that may come your way. If something pops up on your phone, for example, delete it immediately.
All right, 15-minute counter clock. So it's past. So quarter to the hour almost. Yeah, I know it is very interesting, isn't it, Nancy? You did not say that, which is, but we need to hear the evidence. I want to listen to the witnesses. There's a lot of witnesses I want to hear about that I've heard from. Yeah, 10:45 Eastern. It's also 10:45 there. So they are on the same time zone, Michigan. This part of Michigan, because apparently I learned today that Michigan has 2 time zones. Hopefully it's just 2 time zones, not more than that. So this is an eastern side. Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, it's a case from 2007. How much like evidence do they actually have now that is still well usable? Oh wow, great! We see the extractor fan. Nice. The neighbors will be, but like I'm sorry, but like in the I hate having to reference back to that trial, but I have to because it's this both of the same year. Like the Nicole case, some witnesses can now be deceased and not available anymore. I mean, and I just hope we don't have the same situation that we would have like half days or shorter days or anything, because witnesses move, people move, especially after this whole incident. I'm expecting people to have moved. It's been 18 years. I mean, just from 2007 to 2010, when the first trial was came around, they didn't like people moved and people get married. The names are gonna change. So, oh, thank you very much, Jennifer. Yeah, it's I'm Portuguese originally, and yeah, this is my my Portuguese accent. But thank you very much, my friend. Great to see you here. Nice to meet you. Hello. Yeah, it's the kids are split in half. Like the boys are on the boys are against mom and the girls are for mom. But to be fair, I only have heard about the 2 boys and the 2 girls. They had a third son. There was the adopted son, I think, or a nephew or something. So oh, so it's the 3 boys that believe. I only saw because there was a clip, right? I need to find that clip again. Of the boys talking, right? And I only saw 2 of them and they look twins. So it's just yeah, it's just very interesting. This whole thing. But like Nancy was saying, it did not say once that to find her not guilty. I'm so glad that you are, and we are very glad to have you here as well. Sorry, my phone keeps buzzing. Garden bot needs me, but he can wait a little bit. Court is on break. Yes. It was his idea, yeah, exactly. Thank you very much. And I officially declare Stephanie our expert for this case. Definitely I am not paying her for that. I don't have 10k like the other trial had to pay for the expert. But she's our free expert. So yeah. I do need to find out 48 hours, but Stephanie will be always our trial expert for this trial. Hey, you watched it twice, so you're gonna be our expert now. So congratulations on your new position, Stephanie. Hope you enjoy it. What I was gonna say, and also, no one. I don't know if this was an emotion or anything, because again, I haven't looked at the court docket, which I do need to do it, to see if there was a motion about the fact to not bring the previous trial, or they are gonna put that somehow, because no one mentioned that in the openings, I don't think so. So yeah. Paula, sorry, Stephanie, you're on your own, kid. No, I'm joking. You're not on your own, kid. You're definitely not. Is looking into the background. Love it, absolutely love it. Maria, depends really the platform that you're using, but our expert will get back to you promptly, and I'm sure she will. So it depends on which platform you're using, cause which is the interesting thing. CBS has one, Paramount Plus has another. I understand they are both the same company, but they will yeah. Uh, on demand Xfinity. Okay, see, told you, our expert is on it. I am so glad I've got this expert in this trial. That is awesome. I mean, if you want to become an expert, let me know, because next trial we have our friend Lori. So if you are an expert on Lori Vallow Daybell, or whatever her name is, because she keeps changing and I keep getting confused, let me know. Reach out, because that would be interesting, because I need an expert on that Lori Vallow Daybell case. Honestly, what's her name? What is she going by? Is it Vala or is it Lori? Oh, Lori. Or is it Daybell now? I need to figure that out, because otherwise I'm always going to be a mess saying her name. But I think, sadly, on this one, we're going to get objections, and we're going to get... Hi, Case One. Good morning. Hello. Good morning, my friend. Hi. Welcome in. We just had the openings. I don't know if you were hearing, lurking. So we just did the openings for this new case. The prosecution, in my opinion, was very good. She laid out the Dingbell. Okay, Laurie Dingbell. Thank you very much, Jennifer. Finally someone corrected me. We'll call her Laura Dingbell then. So that's definitely her name then, Laura. Okay. So just very quickly, the prosecution did a very solid opening, which she started by doing some talking about the charges and about a little bit about the law involving in them, but then she went really in depth of the case and explain it very well, so it's actually quite good. And then we had the defense, which was a snooze fest, which is voice is lovely. I'm gonna have a fun with this trial because I love this voice, very very good. But his defense, his opening was not very strong. One of the things that Nancy pointed out was that he did not say once to find his client not guilty, which was rather interesting. So, yeah. Oh, apparently the other case has very good audio too. Nice. I'm gonna try to catch up on the other case during the weekends, because apparently the other case is gonna be Oh no, Jennifer. We allow that to Laurie Dingbell. Don't worry. We definitely allowed to that, because she's a circus in itself. So I absolutely agree, my friend. Don't you worry. It's okay. We can have good fun. Oh, so yeah. Don't you worry, my friend. You're not expert on Ding Bell and you don't want to be. Paula, I was expecting you would want to be. Absolutely fine. Thank you very much, Stephanie, for absolutely that. You are 5 stars. So if you want to catch up on this case, get a little bit more like of a background story and hear a bit more maybe about the first trial, check out Paramount Plus, the season 33, episode 14. It's called The Death of Todd Stemmer. It's our expert has said it, and it is. We've done the homework. Well, some of us did the homework before the trial started. I didn't. So yeah. Oh, well, I know. Absolutely. So, I understand, Paula. We don't want that. But if anyone else wants to become an expert on the Ding Bell case, let me know. No, I will try to become an expert. I will have a crash course on Laurie before the trial, maybe this weekend. We don't have many plans on Saturday. I have plans on Sunday. Oh, by the way, quick thing. On Sunday for members videos, it might be a little bit late because the members videos is gonna be my trip to Wendy's. So it might be a little bit later because obviously I need to go to Wendy's and I'm only gonna go on Sunday afternoon. So it might be a little bit late, but it will be there. It will be on. But it will be later on Sunday, so just a heads up for you guys. But I'll post on the community tab closer to the day anyway. But I'm very excited going to Wendy's. I have my list recommendations right there written, so yeah. I know, like, yeah, I understand. William like that, Laurie. So I am very happy that you found us too, Jennifer. We always appreciate new people. We love. So exactly. Oh, that is so sweet. That is indeed, Maria. That is. Oh, someone is having fun with the feet. I know, Stephanie. I'm so excited for that. Hang on. Sorry, I don't like that picture of the defendant, so I'm just that creeps me out again a little bit. But I am really excited for that, Stephanie. And what was the next one that I'm gonna do is the Taco Bell. We have a Taco Bell as well near where I live, so I am definitely gonna go to Taco Bell after the. Oh, Wendy's chili? Oh, Case, why did you mention more food? I already have such a long wish list. um, but yeah, I'm definitely. If you have any more suggestions, for Wendy's, please let me know. I already have a long list, but me and Garden Bots and a couple friends are gonna go, so we're gonna probably do like a big massive share place, and I'm gonna try a little bit of everything. Oh no, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. Case one. I need things. Jennifer, this is one thing that we do in this channel is we talk about a lot about trials and food. Our conversations always starts on trials and somehow ends up in food. So we get distracted and we talk about food way too many times. We like food. And I think it's a common thing. And I'm trying more American things. I'm finding that we have American fast food here. Um, is it spicy though, William? And case one, is the chili spicy or is just like no spicy? Because I don't do spicy, so I'm just wondering. So I'm finding all this American fast foods here, and I'm going there and having the food, and then share my experience. And and we talk a lot about candy too. Isn't spicy? Okay, good. Yay! Chili goes on the list. Let me grab the list. Let me put it. Chili. Oh, you haven't tried it. Oh, okay. No worries, case one. That's fine, but it's on the list. So, yeah, we talk. Oh, candy. It is another thing that I'm obsessed with. I have literally a drawer right here. This is the packet of sweets that I opened when court started about 2 hours ago. We started, and I only have one left. That's a problem. And you guys, do you remember the candy haul I did last week or in the beginning of the week? Oh, definitely lowest. It's there. Dipping the French fry on the frosty. Definitely, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna do it on video so you can see that I did try. But yeah, you know all the candy that I bought last week, right? But you want to know what's left? Literally this one that it's literally finishing, right? And then those two. That's all that's left. That's yeah. I've got a candy problem. I might yeah. I need to lay back on. Ooh. Oh no, I'm so sorry. Candy raisins. I think I've heard about that one. I think I've heard it. Yeah. So I need to lay off candy. Nah, that's never gonna happen. Um. Oh, home cooked chili. Oh, that's good with crackers. I'm gonna sneak in some crackers then, William. I'm definitely gonna sneak in the crackers in there. Oh. Sorry, just entertained by your guys' conversation. I want to be part of it too. Not joking. Um. Oh no, I'm so sorry, Maria. I'm sorry. I wish you could just stay at home and rest. I really hope that you're feeling better, my friend. I know it is harsh when we feel unwell and we feel sick. Believe me, well, what I thought that it was a cold this beginning of the week actually wasn't a cold. It was actually just tiredness. Um, I know about your chocolate problem. You've already told me told me, Lois. I have a candy problem, but oh well, it's fine. I mean I make it up by walking a lot at work and working a lot, so I think I'm okay. Um. Ooh, chili at Wendy's sauce spicy. Okay, I can't do spicy. It's like bad spicy or moderate spicy or just barely spicy. Or can I ask? Maybe I can ask no spicy on the chili. Um. Oh, you have not tried. I've been on the app, right? Wendy's app because we actually have the app here in the UK for Wendy's, which is awesome. And I've been studying the menu, and apparently, does that happen in US as well? That they do the breakfast combos all day. Or it's just because, like, literally, it's letting me order breakfast convos. I could and it's on the collection because if they would deliver it, would have already bought it. But they don't deliver. It's just you can pre-order and then go to the restaurant and pick it up. But oh, that looks good. The breakfast baconator, grilled sausage, American cheese, applewood smoked bacon, a fresh cracked egg, free range egg, more cheese, more bacon. Oh, covered it all my days. I'm making myself hungry. Ooh, Subway. Maria, I'm trying to convince Garden Bot to have Subway, which is good. Oh, you have no. That's the thing. Do they serve it all day? Because if they serve it all day, I'm gonna be even more in trouble. Five Guys. Oh wow, William, that is so funny. You mentioned that. You know that me and Garden Bot, our first date was in Five Guys. Uh, which I never had the food, even though the date was there. Um, so yeah, we had the food there, but I had to force feed Garden Bot because he almost passed out in our first date at Five Guys. And it was at Five Guys because this was just after the pandemic, right? Very short story. This was just after the pandemic, and we went out for a meal, but everything was booked. He forgot to book, and we end up at Five Guys. Not because this, he took me to Five Guys in for first date. It was just because was the only restaurant available that did not need a reservation at the time. But yeah, Your Subway. You really even remember the year, the first time you had Subway, Maria? That is addictive. Um. Oh, case one. Do not give me fear. Oh yeah, they have such a good fries. I did eat the fries. I never ate the burger because I gave my burger to Garden Bot to make sure that he would not pass out on our first date. So he ate his burger and my burger, so he wouldn't pass out. I hope that here in UK they all good. I'm sure. Well, that's a bit. Well, I think that's like everything really. That sadly, wherever we work, I was just my work saga carry on, guys. So and this court. Sorry, I'm just adjusting. So my work saga carries on. So I finished today earlier. I know, Zizzy, I'm very hungry right now, and just thinking the garden bot is still not here. Um, oh, he literally almost fell for me. Yes, on our first date, which was funny. Um, my work saga carries on because I'm starting to very get sick of that place. So I told my boss I was gonna finish today at 9 a.m. because it was just an overtime shift. I was just gonna go in, help them out, pack a couple bits, and that's what I did. But I pulled the defrost stuff to be put out because I did not do it in the morning. Now he's saying that he has to. One of my colleagues that are in the bakery, they're gonna have to throw everything out because I did not put the labels on. Well, I told you that I couldn't stay until the end of the normal shift because I couldn't because it's my day off and I have things to do, aka extreme court. But they don't need to know that. Well, they do need to know that, but they know that, but I did not tell them. So now my colleague is texting me, oh, I'm gonna have to put everything on a colleague shop because you didn't do it. I was like, okay, what you want me to do? Like I told them I couldn't do until 11. I did until 9 o'clock, and that was already helping them. I am not helping them anymore. I am not doing any more favors. I'm sorry, but now I'm angry, and this week has been a horrible week at work. Um, no, it's like he's been texting me. First of all, on my personal number about work, which is like I'm not at work. Don't text me about work. I'm sorry, I'm not there. What you want me to do? I'm not gonna stop my life and go back to work and helping. It doesn't do that for me. So first of all, he's texting me, which I don't appreciate it. So I already muted him and archived this chat. I don't want to know. So and I said I'm gonna do it until 9 o'clock. I pulled the stuff out to defrost. Someone else can go in and put the labels and put it out. No, now he's texting me. Oh, the boss doesn't want to put it out because he's been out for too long. Well, it's not my fault. I told them that I was going at 9 o'clock. They saw me leave. They did not do because they did not want to. So, yeah, exactly, isn't it? The thanks that I get for being nice and going extra mile. But now I'm done. Now I was like, I'm absolutely done with that place. I am just trying to survive and getting on with emotions and just going in, doing my job, during my hours, and not helping anymore. I'm not doing any more overtime. I'm done. I had enough. I want to focus on doing this, being able to hanging out with you guys and everything and growing. So yeah, no more Thursdays. I only work from Monday to Wednesdays there now. And that's it. And that's the thing. I said to him, oh, I can't work because I was already shattered. Uh, exactly, like I don't know. Oh, and that's the thing as well. I've no, I'm not gonna text him. First of all, I haven't even saved this number on my phone, so I saw this random number texting me, and I was like, oh, what does he want? Who is this? And then I had to go through the messages to like figuring out who he was because I haven't even saved the number. So, oh, Nancy. Thank you. Oh, thank you very much, girl. I really appreciate that. Thank you for the sticker. I'll definitely keep it up. Oh, the sticker for some reason doesn't show up there, but thank you very much. Oh, hi, Samantha. Good morning. Oh, it's okay. No worries. I hope you were able to. Oh, see the openings for the case and everything. Why is not letting me? There we go. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you. Well, I'll try. Well, I'll try no more tears.
No, I didn't adjourn. Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor. People call Stermer to the stand, please.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Thank you. Please have a seat. Do you want the hearing assessed?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to make sure I hear what
Yes.
Ben said.
Is that good?
I think so. I'm sorry.
And then you can move the microphone, it's easier to move that than that heavy chair, so you can move that closer to your mouth so the jury can hear you.
Okay.
And we'll
I
start by
think
having you tell us your full name and spelling your last, please.
Sandra K. Stermer, Stermer.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Stermer, did you know Todd Stermer?
Yes,
How did you know Todd?
he is my son.
And do you know Linda Stermer?
Yes,
And how do you know her?
she was my daughter-in-law.
And how long were Todd and Linda married?
Like 13 years.
I'm sorry, can I maybe move your microphone down a little bit?
Better? Okay. I think 13 years. They were together longer than that.
Do you know how long they were together before they got married?
Well, they had 2 kids. Trace, so a couple of years, 2. Trace might have been 2 or 3 when they got married.
A couple of years, and then they were married about 13.
Yeah.
And what was your relationship with Linda like during the marriage?
It was okay.
What was your relationship like with your son?
It was great. He was a good son. I loved him.
Had you been to their house, the new house that they built on County Road 215?
Oh, wait a minute. The hearing's very good here. What was it?
Had you been to their house that they were building on County Road
Oh, yes.
215? Many times?
Yes.
And at the time of the fire, can you describe to the jury kind of what the state of the house was, or?
It was still a work in progress, but the chimney was done, bedrooms, it was very livable. Nice kitchen.
Did it have floor coverings? Like carpet and?
I don't think there was any carpet. I think it was just wood floor, but I won't swear to that. It's been a long time.
A lot of years. So who was building the house?
Todd was, with, he'd get help when he needed help, and his brother helped him quite a bit, and a lot of friends. He had a lot of friends.
Had he built things before in the past?
What now?
Had he done building or remodeling in the past?
Yes, he was very handy, could figure out most any kind of carpenter work, plumbing, electrical. He'd worked with an electrical contractor at one part where he was in an internship for quite a while. I was hoping maybe he'd stick with that, but he likes his independence, so.
So you said he built most of the house himself, but then contracted out other parts?
Yeah, there was parts of it that was contracted out, yes.
Do you know who was living in the home at the time of the fire?
Todd, Linda, Trevor, Trenton, and Corey.
And who are Trevor, Trenton, and Corey?
Trevor and Trenton are Linda and Todd's sons, and Corey is Linda's nephew.
And did Todd treat Corey as a nephew,
Corey,
or?
No, he treated him like a son. He was a son to him, and we figured, he's my grandson. I mean, I don't normally even say anything different except Todd's 3 sons.
And had Todd and Linda raised Corey from a young age?
2. He was only like 2 when they, so.
Todd died on January 7th of 2007, right?
Yes.
And when did you see him last prior to the fire?
The Friday before.
So that was on a Sunday, so you saw him the Friday before? And what happened on that Friday?
Well, my other son had given me $100 gift card to go to Red Lobster, so I invited Todd and the boys to come in. It was going to start school the next week, and I said if they came in, I'd buy them lunch or Brad would buy us all lunch at Red Lobster. And so they did, and we had a nice lunch and good time. They were in good moods.
So you had the 3 boys and you and Todd?
Yes.
Anyone else?
Linda was working, so she wouldn't have been excluded if she'd have been.
And what was, Todd, you said everybody had a good time?
Yes, we did. He had been to a doctor earlier in the day for an ear infection. And so the boys drove in, and then he came after his appointment. And that was it. We just chatted and talked, beginning of school and whatever was what happened.
What was Todd's mood?
Todd was in a very good mood that day.
In spite of the ear infection?
Yeah, he was. I remember him smiling and laughing and joking with the kids. So.
Any discussion about anything bad going on?
He didn't tell me anything bad going on, no.
If there would have been something bad going on, did you have the type of relationship where he would have discussed it with you?
He would have eventually, but he probably wouldn't have brought it up right then at lunch. But anyway, so he would have probably tried to talk to me in private rather than,
Instead of in front of the boys?
Yeah.
Were you aware of any problems that Todd and Linda were experiencing in their marriage?
As far as, no, nobody told me anything. That I didn't think it was turning into a very good relationship by then. Just more tension between the two of them. That Thanksgiving, he came to Thanksgiving, him and the three boys came to where we were all at family-wise, and she went with the girls someplace else. So that's holidays like that where it was getting iffy whether they'd both be coming together or not.
And traditionally, are holidays a big thing in your family?
Yes.
And usually everybody comes together?
We usually come together, yes.
Did Todd, was he a physically fit man at the time of his death?
Yes, he had very little body fat. He was in good shape. He wanted to play sports all the time, and he couldn't do anything. At that age, he was 42, that he played 110%, and he was very active.
Did he get involved in any coaching?
He coached, yes, his kids, he coached a whole lot. And a lot of people in Lawrence and everything really, there's always going to be the naysayer, but most of them all liked him, and the kids liked him. He loved kids, and he was good with them.
Did he have any physical limitations?
No, he'd had a couple of knee surgeries from skiing and whatever sports things, but it didn't seem to slow him down much.
No. So you didn't notice that it slowed him down when he had those knee surgeries?
No. He was still out running bases and playing basketball, so.
Even after his surgeries?
Yeah, oh yeah.
When did you first hear about the fire?
Sunday night, later in the afternoon.
Later in the afternoon?
Evening, actually, it was evening.
And when you heard about it, what did you do?
After I talked to the detective, my sister was over there at my house, and we got in the car and drove out to Lawrence.
And did you actually get to go to the house?
We didn't go to the house. I drove down by the house, and then we found out that Linda and the boys were at a neighbor's house, and so we went over there.
So you went with the boys? Okay. And so did you ever go out to the scene that day?
Not that, I saw it from the road,
Okay.
but the driveway was a mess, and the fire trucks were still in there, and it was police, and I couldn't go down. I don't know what I could have seen if I'd have went down there, really.
And so then, did you have an opportunity, where did the boys go after the fire?
They were at this neighbor's house. I don't remember his name now, but he had come over after the fire, and then and Linda and the boys are all there by then. Ashley had come, her daughter. And
Who's Ashley?
Ashley?
Yeah, who's Ashley?
Couldn't get in the living room where Todd was at, and so she went out through the front door.
So when you say the slider door, what door was that?
In the basement. It was a walkout basement with,
Did she tell you where Todd was at the time?
Well, she said it, first of all, she told me, he was in the living room and he was on fire. So.
And she told you he was in the living room when
Yeah,
she saw
and then
him?
you gotta remember, we'd get just to a certain point, and then she'd start getting all hysterical or whatever, so I'd just back off. I mean, I wasn't being confrontational anyway, I just wanted to know what happened.
So the first time you said that she said she was in the basement, did she say what she was doing in the basement?
Said she was doing laundry,
And did she tell you where Todd was at that time?
but he wasn't feeling good, and he was upstairs.
Did she tell you anything about a fire in the fireplace?
Yes, she said there was a fire. He was sitting in his chair up there and had a fire in the fireplace.
And then she said, I believe, I just want to be clear, you said that she yelled, or that she heard Todd yell something?
To for her to get out at one time, that was one thing she told me, so.
And then she tried to get up the steps, and that was when she couldn't get out?
Well, like I said, she told me 3 different ways she got out of the house, so I don't know which time was which.
So the time that she said she didn't get up the stairs, did she say why she didn't get up the stairs?
Says there was too much smoke and flame.
And did she say if she saw Todd at that time? Is that a no?
No, I'm sorry.
So she said she didn't see Todd, or didn't
I
she
don't
tell
think
you
she
anything?
said she got, because I don't think she could get up there far enough, supposedly, to see.
And then she said at one time that she went upstairs and she saw him, right?
Yes.
And then what door did she say she went out at that time?
She went out through the front.
The front door, which would have been in the house?
Yes.
Okay.
There was also another exit off the kitchen. She never used that, but there's a lot of ways out of the house.
Was the exit off the kitchen, what side, was that on the side of the house, the back of the house, the front of the house?
The one in the kitchen?
Yeah, the
was toward the back of the house. It was like off the kitchen in the back of the house.
And that would have been, the door
And I
would have
don't
gone-
think there was any steps there, but I think that must be the way Todd got out.
Well, and I'm not going to ask you about that because
Yeah,
obviously you
no,
weren't there, right?
Yeah.
So she said, so one time she said that she went out the front door. Did she say she saw Todd that time?
You know, Susan, I mean, I can't tell you which one time she told me what. I mean, they were all right together. It was like one day she told me 2 different ways that she tried to get out or did get out, and then another way that she got out. So it's all here. I mean, you know.
Yeah. And then I just want to be clear, then one time she said she didn't see Todd and one time she said she did see Todd.
I'm sure she told me she saw Todd.
And you said that those all happened within how many days from the fire? Those 3 different accounts?
At the day of and the next day.
So between those 2 days?
Yeah, and then I quit asking.
Did you ever talk to her about the van and driving the van? No? Did she ever tell you why she was driving the van?
Said she didn't have a phone.
Did she ever tell you, or did you ever ask if she saw Todd outside?
I didn't, because I won't elaborate. I didn't.
And she never said anything about that? Was there a time that you were talking to her in those 2 days where you were at Kate Swift's house?
No, that was later.
That was later. So how much later was that?
Probably within a week, because Brad and Kelly, I think, were with me.
So who's Brad?
My son.
Your son.
Other son.
And that'd be Todd's brother?
Yes.
And what was the conversation with Linda? What did Linda say at that conversation with Brad and at Kate Swift's house?
Well, the kids were he was trying to question her, and she just got all hysterical, and went off to the basement or the bathroom, and I just followed her in, but she didn't say anything.
So as soon as she was questioned, she began to hyperventilate and became hysterical and didn't want to talk?
Yeah.
Did Linda ever talk to you about her marriage?
Not really, no. I mean, if she did, it would have been to complain about something, you know.
On those conversations after the fire, did she ever talk to you about her filing for divorce or wanting a divorce?
Not to me.
Did you know anything about Todd and Linda's financial status?
Not good, pretty shaky.
And how did you know that?
Well, I lent him some money. And
How much money?
do I have to say?
Was it over $20,000?
Yes.
And during the course of their marriage, how many times did you have to lend them money?
Well, Todd and I worked together, on different things. I wanted to make sure they had a house to live in, for one thing. So I would sometimes bail him out make sure he got ahead of payment. And then he was very good about paying me back. It's just at the end here, when he was working really hard, trying to get the house done, that I lent him the larger sum. I had no doubt he would have just kept paying until he paid it back. I never thought he'd ever wouldn't.
I have no further questions. Thank you, Ms. Stermer.
Good morning, Ms. Stermer.
Good morning. What is? This thing is, I'm hearing noises coming from behind me here. From this, I guess.
Another guy, maybe we'll try.
Well, maybe if I just,
Was it the noise of this moving this?
it's weird.
Are you hearing it now?
What now?
Are you hearing it now,
Yeah.
the noise?
Can you hear it?
No? Well, we'll try a different headset for you.
Sorry. I don't know how this one goes on.
under your chin. Sound okay?
We'll see. Sorry about that.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Let's see if it works.
Good morning, Ms. Stermer. Can you hear me?
Hi, good morning, yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I'll be brief, Ms. Stermer. You stated that your son was very skilled in building. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. And he had been an apprentice. Is that I understand?
He was an apprentice for an electrician.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry, can we move your microphone down again?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry. Pull that microphone down.
Okay.
Right there. See the microphone? Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Sorry about that.
There's sound issues in here.
I'm electronically challenged.
But you apprentice for an electrician, is that right?
Yes, he was. And he also, he just was one of those guys that could look at a blueprint and he'd measure, and he just was a perfectionist along those lines. He'd remodeled a couple of houses along the way, and that he'd sold, and he'd learned. He was a smart kid.
Well, was this the first house that you...
that he built from scratch.
That he built from scratch, is that right?
Yes.
And you were very proud of that?
Yeah, I mean, I was always proud of my sons anyway, all daughters and whatever, but yes, I was proud of him.
So when he told you that he was going to build this first house from scratch, did you help him financially in reference to the...
Not right at first. I mean, it was later on he got, when he was getting into the closing stuff, and he'd already put a lot of money into it, that he had, that I helped him out some.
Had you ever spent the night at the new house that he built?
Did I?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, no? Okay. But you knew, did you know the geographics of the house on the inside? You did?
Yes, I'd been out there a lot.
Okay. It was upstairs?
I was probably upstairs only about once, because I've had both hips replaced.
Right, okay.
Stairs are a little challenge.
Yes, I understand. But he had a fireplace. Did he ever express to you which part of the house was more passionate to him than the other?
No. Not to me.
Okay. When you were speaking with Linda right after the unfortunate demise of your son, was she still hysterical to you as far as processing the whole incident?
She pretty much, when we got back to my apartment, I gave her my room. I fixed her up with, whatever. And she just went in there and stayed in there, and I was out in the living room with the boys, and so.
Okay. And the lunch that you and your son and your grandsons y'all had, the only reason why Linda wasn't there is because she was at work?
They said she was at work or she was doing something. I mean, she worked periodically. She worked at different jobs, and she did a lot with a lot of horses, and so I don't remember especially, but I'm thinking it was work that they thought, that said they, So.
Did you know about the horses?
The horses?
Yes.
I knew something about the horses, yes.
Beg pardon?
What? I knew about the horses.
You knew about the horses, okay. So, would it be fair to say that your son or Linda, they didn't use you as a sounding board for any family affairs, right?
No, I know Todd. I mean, I had talked to Todd at different times. We used to ride to ball games a lot. His kids were real active, and I tried to go to as much as I could. And he had trying to get my thoughts straight. Anyway, he said found out some things, but I don't think I ought to bring them up here. I mean, about whatever, about their marriage. I mean, he found out that she hadn't told him exact truth about a lot of things before they got married.
Before they got married?
Yeah.
Okay.
And after they were married, a few more things popped up, whatever. But he was trying. He just told me he was going to try, and he wanted to be the best husband he could be. So he was going to stick with it, and did want to be a weekend dad. And that's where we pretty much left it. He didn't come and cry to me that Linda's doing this, that, or the other thing. No, that wouldn't have been him.
Okay.
He would have never. Okay. He would have, if they were really getting a divorce, he would have come to me and told me eventually that, well, we're getting a divorce, and I probably would have heard over that weekend, actually, if she was really leaving. So, okay. I don't know.
Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Stermer.
Okay.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you. I just wanted to clarify. When the house that Todd built had a basement level, right?
And an upper level too.
So
Loft or
a
whatever.
loft. So when
That's what I'm talking about. Yes, I probably went up to the loft maybe once.
Okay. So was it like a loft that overlooked the living room?
Seems like it had stairs going up. It wasn't overlooking anything.
Okay. So you hadn't gone upstairs, meaning the loft.
Right. I had been on first 2 floors, yes.
So you were on the main level, and is that where the kitchen, the living room, and everything was at, on the main level?
We used to, like at Christmas, we played cards down in the basement.
So you'd also been in the lower level,
Oh, yeah.
in the basement?
Yeah.
So really, the only level you didn't go to was the loft?
Yeah.
Okay. And I just wanted to be clear. And I just wanted to touch base. The evening of the fire, you said that you sat with the boys?
Actually, what I remember is sitting on the kitchen floor with Trevor. And we just sat there almost all night.
On the kitchen floor?
Yeah.
What were you doing on the kitchen floor?
Crying and talking and just supporting each other.
And Linda was not involved in this at all?
She was in the bedroom.
I have no further questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Any follow-up, Mr. Carter?
Yeah, Your Honor.
Jury, do you have any questions of this witness? I'll have you raise your hand. No? Okay. Is she excused from persecution?
Your Honor, I would ask that she be excused.
Have no objection, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. You're done. Any assistance in the comments now?
If I can get down, I'll put it. Hang on.
Thank you, Your Honor. The people called Deputy Tony Evans.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Thank you. Please have a seat, and when you're settled, and you can move the microphone right to the mouth so the jury can hear you. As long as your full name is well read. You can move the microphone easier than the jury.
Yeah, a little bit easier this way. Tony Evans, EVANS.
Thank you. What is your current occupation?
I'm currently employed at the Van Buren County Sheriff's Office.
And how long have you been there?
Over 26 years.
In what capacity were you working with the Van Buren County Sheriff's Department on January 7th of 2007?
I was a K-9 deputy.
You were pardon me, a what?
A K-9 deputy.
K-9 deputy. K-9 meaning you have a dog?
Yes.
And were you dispatched to a fire on that day at approximately 3:30 in the afternoon?
I was.
And do you recall the location?
The 66,000 block of County Road 215.
Is that in Lawrence Township?
It is.
Van Buren County, state of Michigan?
Yes.
Do you recall approximately how long it took you from the time you were dispatched till the time you got to the property?
About 7 minutes.
And were you the first emergency responder or law enforcement to arrive?
I was the first law enforcement. There was a firefighter, first responder that was there before me.
Do you recall who that was?
Steve Leach.
What did you observe when you first arrived at the home?
So when I pulled in a long dirt driveway, heading back to the west to a two-story yellow home, I pulled in, it parked off to the right about 3/4 of the way down. I saw heavy smoke on the north side of the residence. It was going up and a little bit to the north. Then I saw flames on the south side and smoke coming out of the second story windows.
How long was that driveway approximately?
Approximately 250 yards.
Was it a flat driveway? Did it angle up?
If I remember, it had just a little incline going up to it, to the west.
You said that you saw the smoke going up. I think you used your hands in a motion to show going up. Was there any smoke coming out of the sides of the home?
I don't remember any smoke coming out of the sides. I remember coming out of the second floor. It was pretty clear, actually.
So coming down the drive, you could clearly see the sides of the houses?
Yes.
Could you clearly see the yard?
Yes.
And you said you saw fire in the second story?
There was fire on the south side of the residence that I could plainly see. There's also some smoke. There was heavy smoke on the north side of the residence.
What were the weather conditions at that time?
When I pulled in there, I don't remember it raining. It was cloudy, a little overcast. Eventually it did start to rain though, sometime down I'm not sure the time frame of it when it started to rain. But
Sometime after you
sometime
arrived, it
after
started to
I
rain?
arrived, correct.
And then did the weather change from the rain?
Went from light rain to heavy rain to snow.
And that was later on?
Yes, it was later on.
Would that have been after it was dark?
Remember it raining, so it was about 3:37, 3:46, if I remember correctly.
When you got there, correct?
When I got there. January of that time, I'm not sure exactly what time it got dark out. Obviously it gets dark out earlier in January here in Michigan. So I think it was maybe light out when it started raining as well.
Do you have any problems going down that 250-yard driveway?
I did not.
And then how far down the driveway did you get before you parked?
About 3/4 way down, I parked off facing the north.
And why did you park before the house?
I knew that first responders would be showing up, fire department, so I pulled off that way because it looked like there's only one ingress or egress going to that residence.
And then did you walk then from your car to the residence?
I did.
Do you recall the condition of the driveway as you were walking on it?
It seemed fine to me.
And then as you approached the house, what did you see?
So I saw subjects on the north side of the residence. about 5 people on the north side of the residence. I walked up there and they were attending to Mr. Stermer.
So I want to stop you real quick with on the north side of the property. Can you give the jury an explanation of what the terrain is on the north side and how that house is situated with the terrain?
So terrain-wise, it was a grass, with a slight slope going down. And then it looked like there's maybe a driveway that they used to pull around to the back of the house at some point, but that would have been dirt.
And so then did the terrain go, did it go all the way down to then the lower level?
It dipped down to the west.
And so where were the people that you saw situated in like with that terrain?
About 20, there's a green fuel oil tank that was there. So they're about 20, 25 yards to the north, maybe northwest from there.
And were they on the slope down that you described?
I don't remember being on the slope down, no.
Okay. You know what I mean when I'm talking about the yard sloping down?
Yeah.
Were they?
We weren't on the slope, no.
Okay, so you were
More
up
the flat part.
higher?
Yes.
Okay. And do you recall who was on scene there? You said there were several people when you arrived.
Mike Matheny, Connie Calhoun, Steve Leach, who was from the fire department, Dr. Masali was a neighbor, and Linda Stermer.
And what did you do then when you first arrived and saw this group of people?
I went over there, noted that Mr. Stermer was on the ground. I noted that Linda Stermer was laying on top of him or on top of him.
I want to stop you there. So she was laying on top of him?
Well, she was on top of him.
And can you describe how she was on top of him?
So he was laying down, and she was, I'd say, knees to the side of him.
Straddling him?
With his head. Can I show you real quick?
Yeah, would that help? Could you come down and show the jury then how she was?
So he was laying down here on the floor, and then head
Can you
over
hear?
here. Oh.
Oh,
So he was laying
here,
down.
she's going to give you a microphone, sorry.
So he was laying down on the ground. Say this is him, and there's his head. She had her knees here, and she was down like this on top of him,
And where was his head?
right here.
So she was face to face. Were her legs straddling his body?
No,
So she was to the side of him,
the
but
side.
then face to face with him.
correct.
How close was she to him?
He was on top of him.
Thank you. Could you tell at that time if Todd Stermer was still alive?
He did have labored breathing.
And when you say labored breathing, what do you mean by that?
His breathing was shallow.
Shallow? Was he responsive?
No,
Did you hear him say anything?
no, I did not.
What did you observe about Todd Stermer and any injuries?
I know he had burns on his face, his arms. He appeared to be severely burned. His ears, you could see some cartilage on it. He did have a laceration to the back of his head that was bleeding.
And did you see blood anywhere other than the back of his head?
He also had lacerations to the back of him.
Was there any blood on the ground?
Yes.
And where was that blood?
The blood was where he was sitting, where he's laying on the ground.
Was he clothed at that time?
He was not clothed. He did have a pair of sweatpants and his socks on. I'm not sure if he had underwear on at that time, but they were wrapped around his ankles. And there was a plaid, looked like a jacket of some sort that was laying over his private area. There was also other clothes that were bunched up down by his feet.
By his feet?
Yes.
And did you ask the defendant, Linda Stermer, what had happened?
I did ask her what happened, and she didn't respond.
Did you ask her if anybody else was in the home?
I did.
Did she respond to that?
After a couple of times, she said no, or she shook her head no, and then said there may be some cats.
What was the defendant doing then when she was on the ground?
She was saying his name, Todd.
Was anyone else attending to Todd at that time?
There was the previous people I spoke of were around him. Dr. Masali was there as well. He was attempting to attend to him as well. At some point, we had to actually take Linda off of Todd and move her so we could do immediate care.
So when you say you had to take her off, what do you mean by that?
Had to hold on to her and physically tell her to get off so we could go ahead and attend to
So
Todd.
that you could do what?
Attend to Todd.
And when you say attend to, do you mean then administer aid?
Administer aid, yes.
And at that point, he still has the labored breathing?
Yes.
Did the ambulance arrive then?
An ambulance arrived at some point, yes. Well, no, I think that it was not there at that time, no. There was no ambulance at that time.
Did you attempt to administer any aid at that time?
So we were close to the house, and the house was on fire. There's a large green fuel tank that was on the north side of the residence. So I was worried for other first responders, everybody on scene. So tried to make the decision to move Todd further away from the scene. The decision was made between, I'm not sure among all of us, was to find something to move Todd. Because I went to try to move him, and as I grabbed him, so I tried to grab him under his arms and kind of like a fireman carry, see if I could bring him back. But due to his skin slippage, I was unable to do that. I then attempted to try and grab his arms, and maybe I could pull him that way. And the skin came off of his arms and went down towards his hands.
Were you able to find something then to try to move him?
One of the persons there, we found like a molded sled, like a plastic sled or of some sort.
A plastic sled?
Yeah. From what I recall, it's like a molded sled. I can't even tell you what color it was. It was
Just made of plastic?
That's my recollection. It was probably plastic.
And once you found that sled, what did you do?
So we moved Todd up, slid him into the sled, and then moved him about 100, 125 yards to the northeast, away from the fire scene.
And once you got him moved, did other people arrive?
Yes.
And who arrived?
So the fire department arrived, the ambulance arrived after a little bit there. I also got a hold of my sergeant. I relayed stuff on the radio to him about, for him to respond to the scene. Also, Deputy Gary Bruss from the Mandarin County Sheriff's Office arrived. When he arrived, I asked him to grab a CPR mask, because after we moved him and got him up in that corner over there, he stopped breathing.
So did you attempt to administer any other aid at that point, or did they take over then with the CPR mask?
We all began doing CPR and compressions. I think it was 3 or 4 of us that did it. Coloma EMS, if I remember correctly, was on the scene. They asked us to continue doing that until he was pronounced.
And so at that time, he had stopped his labored breathing, but you were still continuing CPR?
Yes, and as we tried to do CPR on him, no more air would go into his mouth.
Did you observe the Ford Ecoline van at any time on scene?
I did.
And when did you first notice that?
I was after tending to the medical aid of Mr. Stermer. I saw a Ford Econoline van at the south side of the resident, or I'm sorry, the west, well, that would be the west side of the residence, so behind the residence, with the front facing south.
So, and I just for directionally challenged people like myself, the north side would be to the right of the house, correct?
So if I'm going down the driveway and I'm looking at the house, the right side is the north, the left side is the south.
So
straight ahead would be west.
Straight ahead would be west. So the Mr. Stermer and everybody were to the right on the north side when you first arrived.
Yes.
And then the van was in the rear of the home?
Yes.
And was it facing towards the victim and towards the people, or was it facing away from?
It was facing away.
Anything you observed unusual about that van in the backyard?
It was running. I could see smoke coming from the tailpipe.
How close was it to the home?
It's fairly close, maybe 5 to 7 yards.
And it was still running?
Yes.
When you talked about moving Todd, where did you move him to, now that we have a better concept of direction?
So when we moved him, if you're facing the house, coming up the driveway to the north, and then a little bit back to the east.
So kind of
it's coming
farther,
back at me.
coming towards the backyard.
Yep.
Were you there when the medical examiner arrived?
I was, yes.
At that point, once the medical examiner had arrived, was Todd pronounced dead at that time?
I believe so, yes.
Once he was pronounced dead, did you have an opportunity to see his injuries a little bit more thoroughly?
Yes.
And how much of his body was burnt?
I would say 70%.
And you talked about skin slippage. Where was the skin slippage?
So on his arms, down by his hands, so the skin peeled off and went down towards his hands. He also had some skin slippage up when I tried to grab him up by the shoulder area.
And you talked about the lacerations and I believe some injuries you saw on the back. Is this the time that you saw the injuries then on the back?
Yeah, I noted there was a lot of blood when we moved him. And during the time of the CPR and looking at him, there's a large pool of blood when we moved him from the area where he was laying down. Brought him over there, and once we were doing our medical assessment of him, he was still bleeding from his head. And then he had some lacerations as well on his back.
Your Honor, I believe that defense counsel has stipulated to People's Exhibit number 1, which includes it would include items, pictures 1 through 27, so we've labeled them all 1. So it'll be 1-1, 1-2, 1-3. And I believe we have a stipulation to admit these photos.
Any objections?
No objection, you stipulate, Your Honor.
Okay, but we will see in the evidence, People's Exhibit 1-27,
Yes, Your Honor. Yes. And permission to publish? Thank you, Your Honor. I'm going to hand you the stack of photos that's been admitted as People's Exhibit number 1, just so that you can follow along as we talk about them to the jury.
Okay.
So this is 1-1, and I just want to point out for the record that it's evidenced by the number 1 at the bottom right corner, just for the ability to keep the record clean. Can you tell the jury what we're looking at in item 1-1?
So that appears to be where Mr. Stermer was laying originally before being moved. I also, it was marked with a flag as well.
So the flags were used for what purpose?
So the weather started getting bad, started raining, then started heavy raining, then it started to sleet, and then it started to snow. So the reason I used the flags was to mark where he was at, and I also saw some tire impressions from what appeared to be from the van going through the grass and back to the van.
And did you also mark the tire impressions?
I did, yes.
So I'm going to ask you, if you see places where you've marked tire impressions, if you could also then describe that to the jury.
On Exhibit 1.
Did you see any on Exhibit 1?
I see one other flag, but I'm not sure on this picture here.
Okay, I'll have you go to number 2 then. And can you describe to the jury what we're looking at here?
So number 2 is where Mr. Stermer was laying.
And can you tell by this picture then in relation to any tire tracks?
There are some tire tracks next to the flag there.
And would that be then towards the kind of in a diagonal from the left to the right?
Yes.
That would be the tire track? Would that be the tire track?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to have you then go to 1-3. Could you describe for the jury what we're looking at here?
So that's where Mr. Stermer was laying. The 2 flags depict the tire tracks going I'm trying to orient myself on that.
Would it help to give you the pointer?
No, I can see
Okay,
it on here.
okay.
I got it. So the 2 flags are representative of where the tire tracks were.
So I'm going to point out, so we have the orange flag and the red flag, those are the tire tracks. Can you see on the screen where I'm touching them?
Yeah, the first flag is depicting where, so the one on the left is depicting where Mr. Stermer was laying.
Okay.
The one past it, and it might be better with
On the next
the
picture?
next photographs.
Okay.
But that could be possibly where the other tire track was.
Okay, and then I want to then the darkened area immediately to the right of the flag. What is that? Can you see where I'm pointing?
That is blood.
Okay, and that's where Todd Stermer was laying?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to have you go then to the next photo. Oh, sorry. And can you describe what we're looking at here?
That's another picture of where Mr. Stermer was laying.
And then any tire track, is this the same tire track?
Yes.
I'm going to go to the next slide, which I believe will be 5. What are we looking at here?
So I think you can see the van in the background there. And if you look at the tire tracks, the one on the left and right, that is a tire track moving back towards the van.
So were you able to follow the tracks from where you first saw them to then the van that you found?
Yes.
And is this a progression of pictures as you're approaching the van?
It is.
Okay. So I'm going to go then to photo number 6, 1-6. What are we looking at here?
The picture, pretty much the same as the other one, depicting where the tire tracks were.
And are you just walking closer to the van at
Correct.
this time?
Yeah.
And now I'm going to go to 1-7. What are we looking at here?
Uh, 1-7 is depicting where the two flags are, where the tire tracks are going back behind the house.
And again, then also where the victim was located?
Yes.
I'm going to go to 1-8. And what are we looking at here?
It's just another photo depicting where the tire tracks are going to the back of the house.
And in this photo, we can see part of the house, is that correct?
Correct.
And so if we're looking at the house from this angle, what side of the house is that?
This is the north side.
So if I'm going down the driveway, this would be the right-hand side of the house.
Correct.
And just looking back up at it.
Yes.
I'm going to go to 1-9. And what are we looking at here?
That is a picture of the van.
And then where was this again located?
On the west side of the residence, behind the house.
Behind the house. I'm going to go to 1-10. What are we looking at here?
Another picture of the van.
1-11.
So that's going to be a picture facing east, taking a passenger side picture of the van.
And so this is also showing part of the house. Again, what part of the house are we looking at here?
The south side.
And that would be the back side of the
Oh,
house?
sorry, the west side. That would be the west side.
The west side, which is the back of the house?
Yes.
Would that be the lower level? Is that the walkout level?
I would assume so. I never went in it. So.
And I'm going to go to 1-12. And if you could just describe what we're looking at here.
Another picture depicting where the van was on the west side behind the house.
And the lighted up area obviously is still where the fire is occurring?
I'm not sure on that.
Okay. Do you know what the lighted area is?
I do not.
Okay. I'm going to go to 1-13. And what are we looking at here?
That's another picture of the van behind the house.
1-14. I see. Did you put a flag on this picture?
I did.
And why do you have a flag on this picture?
So when I was looking at the van, I noticed that on the brush guard, there appeared to be blood on it.
And when you say the brush guard, what do you mean by the brush
So
guard?
below the chrome bumper, there was a plastic brush guard, and there appeared to be blood on it.
And that's what the flag is depicting?
Correct.
I'm going to go to 1-15. What are we looking at here?
That's another picture of the van with the flag near it, and you can kind of see a little bit of red to the right of the flag, and that is the blood that I saw.
So I'm going to go to the right of the flag.
Right on the brush guard there.
Right there where I'm pointing?
Yeah.
And I'm going to go to 1-16. What are we looking at here?
That's a picture of the driver's side of the van.
So your back would have been to the house at this
I would have been to
direction?
the house at this time, yes.
Go to 1-17. What are we looking at here?
That's the front of the van straight on, so I'd have been facing the north. The van was facing the south. Where the flag is, to the left of it, there's a red mark, and that's what I believe to be blood on the van.
I'm going to go to 1-18. What is this?
That's another picture of the front of the van, where the previous flag was, and then what appears to be blood on the brush card.
So just a close-up from the
Another
last picture.
close-up, yeah.
I'm going to go to 119. Is this another
That's
further
another
close-up?
close-up of the same.
I'm going to go to 1-20.
Another close-up of the same of what I saw.
1-21. Do you know what it is we're looking at here?
So, if you see, kind of faint, but there's some flags out there. So if you go to the top, I don't know if you can see it from there. There's like 1, 2, 3 flags that I can see.
Are they red?
They're red.
So
that would be where the tire impression would be.
Am I pointing to the first one?
That would be on this side. So it would be on the north side.
Okay, that's one of the flags?
That's one of the flags, and then on the other side would have been the south side flags.
Okay, and then these 2 flags here?
Yeah. So what I'm trying to mark is where you could see the tire impressions going to the van. Again, it was pouring rain, getting hard, and freezing rain and a little bit of snow.
So at that time, you're just trying to make sure that you get the property marked?
I'm just trying to preserve it for with whatever I had at the time. Yes.
I'm going to go to 1-22. And what are we looking at here?
So what I'm trying to depict there is if you look on the left, there's the flags going kind of rounded back towards the van. So on the right side, you can see the flags going back towards the van. The left side, flags going back towards the van. So trying to capture how the van went around and parked.
So you were able to then, let me ask you this way, were you able to see where the van started and where it ended?
Initially, yes.
And you were able to follow that entire path?
Yes, I followed it from, not necessarily all the way from the front, but where I could see some tire impressions, I followed that to go around to the back of the van on that north side of the house.
Do you know how much you could see prior to Mr. Stermer's body? How much of the tire tracks you could see prior?
It wasn't a heavy impression. It was just a mild impression. It's like someone drove through your grass.
Was the ground more solid there?
At the time, the ground was more solid. There may have been just a little bit. It may have rained there before. I don't know. I'm not sure if it rained there before. But there was just a little bit of mud.
And then you were able to then track it up to the point of Mr. Stermer's body?
Yes.
And then you were able to track them going to the backyard?
Yes.
Was this a fluid track? Meaning, did you see any detours off of that curve?
I did not know.
Okay. So you were able to follow it in a pretty smooth curve?
Yes.
I'm going to go then to 1-23. What are we looking at here?
Again, depicting where the tire tracks were leading to the van.
And that's donated by the red flags?
Correct.
1-24.
The same thing. I think just a little bit better angle. I think you can see a little more on this picture where the flags are going back towards the van.
And I want to ask you, are those flags going in 2 separate lines?
Correct.
So the flags on what would be more in the middle of the screen, those would have been...
The flags are near the tire tracks, yes.
And so, let me ask you this way. So you're marking 2 sets of tire tracks?
2 sets of tire tracks.
The left side, the driver's side, and the passenger
Correct.
side? Okay.
And in this picture, you can see where there's looks like some medical supplies that might have been left out, some gloves or something. It looks like right there, that's where Mr. Stermer was laying.
Okay, when you say right there...
On the left side.
Left side?
Above that white.
Above this white?
So go above that, and right
So right above the white,
Yes.
that's where, what is that?
It looks like that's where Mr. Stermer was laying.
And when you're talking about medical supplies, what are you talking about?
Gloves. Gloves, and maybe that was a bandage that I probably grabbed out of my car.
I'm going to go to 1-25. What are we looking at here?
It's another picture depicting the tire tracks and showing where Mr. Stermer was laying.
And again, I just want to be clear, there's two straight lines of flags, correct?
Correct.
And so the ones then on the left would be the driver's side, and the ones on the right would be the passenger side.
Yes.
I'm going to go to 1-26.
It's depicting pretty much the same thing. I think you can vaguely see the van up on the left-hand side there.
At the top of the photo?
At the top of the photo, yes.
So the van, is that the van there?
Correct.
At the top?
Yes.
I'm going to go to 1-27. And what are we looking at here?
That's another photo depicting the tire tracks.
And I believe that is the last photo. Did you take any injuries of any photos of Mr. Stermer's injuries?
I did not.
After you had taken the pictures, mapped everything out, at some point were the detectives called?
Yes, I called my sergeant at the time, George Franks. I asked him to come out. He came out, and the decision was made to call our detective bureau in.
And who did you call?
Detective Maciowski, Detective Rout, Lieutenant Stump.
And you had mentioned that the medical examiner had arrived at some point.
Yes.
Do you recall who that was?
Amy Darling.
Did the fire department arrive while you were present?
Yes.
Were you able to obtain information about that van that was in the yard still running?
Yes, by running it through the Secretary of State system.
Did you determine who owned the van?
I believe it was owned by the Stermers. I'm not sure what name it's registered into.
What was done with the van?
That was towed.
Do you know where it was taken?
I believe it was taken to Decatur Towing.
And why was it taken there?
The decision was made by the detectives to preserve the van for evidence and continue on.
Was the rain concerning at that time?
It was, yes.
At that point, did you continue on with the investigation, or did the detectives take over?
The detectives took over.
After they took over and started their investigation, did you receive any physical evidence from the Detective Bureau?
I got some clothing that was given to me by Detective Maciowski and Sergeant Franks.
And were you aware of whose clothing or what that clothing was at that time?
I was not.
And what was done with that clothing?
It was wet. Might have been some blood on it. I was asked to go take it to our crime lab at the sheriff's office and hang it up.
And why would
Dry
you
out.
dry it out? Was that the reason it was hung up?
Yes.
And you said it was bloody and wet.
When I hung it up, I noticed there was some wetness on it and some blood, yes.
And then that was that in a secure area that it was hung up?
Yes.
After you moved Mr. Stermer away from the house, Were you able to then show the detectives where he first was located by you?
Yes, I did.
And at that time, was everything flagged for them?
So when I put the flags out there, but there's also other first responders on that north side. And I think one of the pictures here, it shows a tire track kind of going off. I believe that is to a first responder vehicle. That's not related to the tracks that I saw going to the Ford Econoline van.
And then did you inform the detectives of everything that you had seen?
I did.
And then was the scene secured for that evening?
Yes, it was.
And how was it secured?
I believe the detectives called the police to secure it and waiting on the fire marshal.
And the fire marshal, did they secure it until the fire marshal arrived?
To my knowledge, yes.
I have no further questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Just have a few questions. I want to go over some of what you observed when you got to the scene. First of all, you said that you saw Linda and you showed us she was kneeling over Todd.
Correct.
She was screaming his name, wasn't she?
She was yelling Todd, yes.
She was hysterical, essentially. Right?
She was yelling his name, yes.
Loudly?
Loudly, yes.
Out of control?
Wouldn't say out of control, but yeah, she was yelling his name, Todd, 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 over and over.
Did you help get her off of
Yes.
him? You were looking at some of the photos, and we saw the photos of the blood on the ground. You remember that?
Correct. Yes.
And comparing it to the tire tracks. Right?
Yes.
There was no blood that you observed at the scene on the tires themselves. Is that right?
I didn't observe it on the tires, no.
In fact, we saw the blood on the bumper. Remember that? The brush guard, you called it.
Yes.
And the brush guard is about, what, 10 inches off the ground?
I'm not 100% sure how far up that is, but...
Roughly?
Roughly.
Okay. 10 inches off the ground, and it was inside the tire, wasn't it?
Yes.
All right. You didn't see any evidence of any blood on the vehicle itself that would suggest the tire impacted Todd, fair?
Yeah, I did not know.
The Econoline van was taken to Decatur towing, and you had nothing to do with it after that?
I had nothing to do with it, no.
The clothing that you took, did you know it was Linda Stermer's clothing?
I don't recall if I was told that by Verge Franks or by Masiowski.
One way or another, you don't know?
One way or another, I don't know at this time.
But you took it to the crime lab, right?
Correct.
And you stored it personally in some area?
So the sheriff's office has a secure crime lab area. So you could go in there and you can hang up stuff, any type of evidence. So you do fingerprints in there if you were trying to get lean prints off of an item. If you were a crime technician, etc.
Are you a crime technician?
In 2002, I went to a basic 35-hour class that covered basic crime scene.
Okay. In 2007, January 7, 2007, you were not a crime scene technician for the Van Buren County Sheriff's, fair?
Well, I would get called out sometimes to do fingerprints, basic stuff, castings of a tire, but any advanced crime scene technician, no.
Okay. Were you aware of the policies of the Van Buren County Sheriff's Office with respect to how evidence is stored and secured?
I'd imagine I was at that time.
You can't just tell us as you sit here today, fair?
Fair.
Yeah. And you don't know, well, you didn't separately bag any of the evidence, did you?
I did not.
All right, you just kept it and stored it in the room together as you found it.
I hung it up separately, yes. I noted it in a report.
But you don't know the way you hung it up and where you stored it was in compliance with the sheriff's office policies and procedures, fair?
Fair.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Just briefly, Your Honor. You never had the opportunity to examine underneath the van, did you?
I did not know.
And you're trained as to how to store evidence, correct?
Yes.
And you have policies and procedures on how to store evidence?
Yes.
And that was the secured area that the evidence was put into, correct?
Correct.
And did you follow the policies and procedures at that time of how to handle evidence?
Objection form. Leading.
I did, yes.
Thank you. I
To
know
my
that.
knowledge, I did, yes.
As an officer, do you review policy and procedures?
Yes.
And are you informed by command staff of what policy and procedures are?
Yes.
And do you follow policy and procedures as given to you?
Yes.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
When I asked you just a second ago, were you aware of the policy of securing and storing the evidence on January 7, 2007? You told me you didn't know, right?
I did not know the actual policy procedure on that date. no, I
Okay.
didn't.
You generally you were aware of the policies, how you're supposed to do it,
Correct, yes.
but as you did those pieces of clothing, you don't know if they complied with the sheriff's office policy,
I do
fair?
not know at that time, yes.
Thank you.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Jurors, do you have any questions for this witness? I've got a couple hands going up, so if you have already, please write down your questions or retrieve them.
I forgot that I can talk. Oh, probably now they will be back. I keep forgetting to talk and like, oh, I can talk now and just look. I know the name's so cute. Well, this guy was interesting. This last witness, right? Because he was one. I know there's a choice.
Some questions from the jury, sir. No objection from counsel. First one is, do you know if the van was stuck behind the house or merely parked, just if you know?
It did not appear to be stuck. It appeared to be parked.
Okay. Were the tire tracks on the dirt drive around the house? Were they on the dirt drive around the house?
It's on a grass dirt area. I don't know if that's what they use as their drive or not.
Okay. Any blood, mud trail, or drag marks from Todd to the house prior to moving him?
Not that I saw, no.
Okay, thank you. Counsel, do you have any questions in light of my questions and answers? On the side of you?
I would just like to follow up one.
Yeah, do you have any?
Counsel has a question.
Okay.
Sir, that second question had to do with tire tracks around what you call the dirt drive. It wasn't even a driveway, right?
No, it looks like maybe they use that to drive around to the back of their house.
Did you see any tire tracks? Strike that. If you had seen that, you would have measured that off and flagged it, right?
If I would have saw, yes, I would have flagged that off, yes.
You didn't notice anything?
I did not know.
Thank you.
I just want to be clear, when you talk about the drive around, what material was that? Was it dirt? Was it grass?
Dirt. There was no concrete, gravel, anything like that that I recall.
So was it mainly grass?
Objection, small, speculate.
How much of it was grass?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
How much was grass?
Okay. Were there any defined tracks that you were able to say that this was something that was used in the past?
Not that I recall.
Okay. I have no further questions.
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Jury, do you have any other questions of him in light of what's happened, the latest questions? Okay, you do, ma'am? Is it written down yet? Okay, we'll retrieve it from you.
So there are actually quite interesting questions about that the jury asks. So about the tires marks and about if the body was dragged. There was so that means that basically, well, they say it didn't it, so there is doesn't mean that there wasn't, but it just he was walking. He walked out because that's what everyone ever said, and especially her. She saw that he walked out of the house. Kind of listen.
Another question from the jury. When you first saw Todd, do you know if he was laying on his back or stomach? when
He
you
was
found
on his
him?
back.
I'm sorry?
On his back.
Okay. Counsel, any questions in light of that question and answer?
Go ahead.
Sir, I think you said you were about the fifth person to arrive? Fifth?
There is
Masali,
Matheny,
Calhoun, and Leach before you.
Correct.
And Liddell.
That I remember, yes.
Okay. So you're the fifth person. You don't know how long it was from the time Todd Stermer was first found by Mr. Matheny to the time you got there, fair?
I do not know.
So when you got there, he was on his back, fair?
Yes.
And you don't know what had transpired with respect to Matheny, Masali, and Ms. Calhoun before that, right?
Correct.
In terms of whether he was on his back or he was on his face, fair?
Fair. When I arrived, he was on his back.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, jury? No questions? May he be excused from his subpoena, counsel?
I would ask that he be excused, Your Honor.
Do you want him to, are you okay with him being excused from subpoena? Okay, thank you. Okay, sir, you're all done.
Thank you.
I'll take those exhibits. Jury, we'll take our lunch break now. I'll have you return directly, thank you, to the jury room at 1:30. And please remember the instructions. Do not talk about the case with anyone or allow anyone to talk about it with you. do not watch any media reports of the case. Thank you.
Okay, so my voice crackling now. Probably not. Am I crackling? Hopefully no. Sorry, I just need to break down better a little. Let me go. What about now? Is it better, or is it still pretty much the same? Court is reporting, yeah. Oh, sorry, I need to talk. Yeah, that is true. That, but I'm scared that I don't want to be like very picky. So I just like I'm a little bit scared. Better, not, and it's just a now and 2 minutes. But oh, is it the same? Why is this happening? Okay, let me put this now. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? So it's crackling. Okay, why is this happening? Okay, this is not good. We're not happy. Okay, so I have a solution. Was it like that earlier, or was it the same? I would not, or just started now doing this. Stuck with my robot. Guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna need. It just started. Okay, I need to reboot the computer. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create another live stream. We're gonna go there, and while I reboot this, and then it started with the last guy. Not last guy then. It's his fault. Right. That's what we're gonna do. So I am trying to create a new stream so we can go over there, and then we can I can reboot the computer. I'm really sorry about this, guys. Let's create another one. Afternoon. Just bear with me, and I can redirect you guys through to that one, so that won't be a problem. Or you can take a nicely walk, and so 1 hour, so I'll be 5:30. Right, okay, that'll be half. I'm just trying to do the math from now. Okay, we'll come back exactly in an hour. That is 5:20 for me. And yeah, I'm doing a portal, so my apologies for this. I'm really sorry, and I really appreciate you guys bringing this to my attention. I really apologize for this. I'm really sorry. Yes, I am gonna portal you, Denise, so everyone is gonna get ported. So better to take your seat and press the like button when you get there. So I'm really sorry, friends. Okay, it is created, so that's good. I can now create portal. Sorry, I have to create thingy, and then there you go. All right. So, thank you very much for hanging out with me this morning. Buckle up. Make sure that you have your devices in, your arms in, ready for takeoff. We'll be back in about an hour time. I'm gonna do a very quick food. Probably I'm gonna do silicone corn, but I'll see you guys very soon. Thank you for hanging out, and I'll see you soon, guys. Again, I am really sorry about this.
And I'm a real-time crime professional.